Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of JD's Empire Sports Talk with Biggie, episode 57. I feel like this is going to be our episode, I think, to get back on track a little bit. It feels like the last 3 weeks have been a little all over the place. I mean, not really our fault. We took 1 week off because, it was a much-needed rest after the Home Run Derby episode, which was over 3 hours. And then last week you had an important meeting because you're a busy guy, so you had to take care of that. So that was a little bit of a disjointed episode as well. So the last 3 weeks have been a little all over the place, but today I think we're gonna get right back in the saddle, as we like to say. And we're not going to cover hockey, but we do have a little replacement. I think Biggie really likes this one at the end of the episode, so stay tuned.
I'm a big fan of it. I'm so excited to talk about it.
it's not the AP poll that came out today. But it's a coach's poll, and it's something that we get to talk about. That's all we care about.
Sign of college football coming back.
Exactly. And I was just about to say it's August, so football's right around the corner.
Yes, it is.
We're gonna start with a lot of football today, the NFL, and then we're gonna end with college because it's getting a little closer. You can feel it. Maybe not outside with the weather and things like that, but you can feel it other ways. When you go on Twitter, whatever NFL team you like, you see a bunch of practice highlights and you get hyped over it, or you get disappointed. In my case, usually I get a little disappointed. But for you, I mean, you hop on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and you're going to see Eagle highlights and you're like, oh man, they look even better than they did last year.
Yeah,
you feel that way, right?
For the most part, yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you get to see highlight videos and not guys getting taken off on a cart, which is
especially your starting quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Always something, but he is okay, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But we will start with the NFL because training camp has only been going on for basically a week, but the NFL never fails producing news. It doesn't matter what it is, it never fails. And we'll start with two main things, but the one I think is much more important. I wouldn't say much more important, but name value is more important. Michael Parsons requests a trade out of Dallas. Wow. What I wanted to get to, we have a few things we have to unpack here. So first feels like to me that Brian Schottenheimer, who is the new Dallas Cowboys head coach, has no control over his squad already. I don't know if you saw Biggie last week. It was already, they were breaking out a bunch of fights.
Yeah,
fights
already.
Punished.
I mean, we see that quite a bit with the Dallas Cowboys, but not this extent and not this early in training camp. This just looks like a disaster waiting to happen in Dallas.
Yeah, and I was going to say, he's making grown men in the pros run for punishment. That's when it's not what you want it to be already, and that's not good. Then you have Parsons requesting a trade. You can't blame Shoddy for that, but you can blame you blame front office, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones. But then today he made Parsons show up with the uniform, like the jersey, because he hasn't been wearing it. So he's been showing up to practice, even though he doesn't want to be there anymore. It's hilarious to me. Yeah. I think he's just doing it to piss off Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones. It's kind of, I find it funny because Dallas is always a clown show. But sometimes they do find ways to still win games on the field. I don't know how they do it, but they do have some talent. But this year, it might be the breaking point. We saw last year they had no success. And this is first question I have for you off the bat. Is this Parsons, him requesting the trade, Do you think it's more of a negotiation thing, or do you think it's legitimate where he really does not want to be there anymore, and it doesn't matter what they offer him? He wants to go. He wants to leave Dallas and move on.
The thing with me is I don't want to be biased towards this because I'm a Eagles fan and I will live and die by hating the Dallas Cowboys and Notre Dame football. Sorry.
I get it.
Getting ahead of myself, but the Dallas Cowboys especially. And I think it might be a combination of both. Because look, Micah Parsons is talented. We know that. He is a great player, but he has that type of, attitude towards him. And he's been a playmaker for the Cowboys since he got drafted. I mean, he's been unreal. He's been really good. Yeah. So I think knowing how his attitude is and some of the things he said since he's been in the league, I think this could be him just wanting to get out of Dallas, and he kind of has to make it all about him, which he has with things in the past. That's my point here. So I don't know if that's that, or if it's again, how the Cowboys have been ran forever, because Jerry Jones is never leaving the Cowboys. He's going to be there for the rest of his life, and so it could be a combo of both. But I also think it's a little bit of Parsons wanting out, because just knowing how his attitude is towards everything, you know what I mean? This seems like something he would want to do, and especially to make it this public, I think it's big part is him. But it also could be, Jerry Jones doing what he does best, and not much. That's my point. Doesn't do much good at all. Nothing good for the Cowboys, really.
Yeah, and what I was going to get to the next point, I'm glad I agree with you, and I'm glad you feel this way and I feel this way, because the fact that Parsons came out and said that no one really contacted him about even offering him up a contract at all shows to me that I don't think he's really, this is not really something that he's just joking around with. And we want to say that word. He's being dead serious, because he hasn't even been contacted, or his agents haven't even been contacted about a new contract. Listen, I know it's with a lot of the star players. They come with the baggage that you don't really like, but you deal with it because of what they can do for you on the field. And I feel in Dallas, Dallas always has a ton of personalities. That's just the way they are. I don't know. It seems like the guys that like to talk a lot, they just find each other. Dallas,
I don't know how they do it, but they they get all of them together on one team.
They somehow do it. And for this Dallas team, obviously with Parsons there, I still don't think they're anything close to the top of the NFC, just because the NFC is that good. And I feel like Dallas has holes across their team. Obviously, you can have the star players, but the rest of the team has to be good for you to be a Super Bowl caliber team. But if you take him out of the equation, I don't care what you get back. It's not equaling anything close, at least in the moment. It's not going to equal anything close to what he can provide. And it's going to be fascinating to see what Dallas does. I'm very, very
and
interested.
I also want to bring up a point here that I think the circumstances of this trade request, if they do trade him, it's going to be a very lowbrow type trade, because they're going to just want to get rid of him for whatever they can get. Really, so I know he's a very valuable player and a very good player, but the circumstances of the situation is he wants out. So they're not going to go get someone like, bad example, but just to use an example here, because he just signed with his team, a guy like Myles Garrett for Micah Parsons. You're not going to see a blockbuster trade, because he just wants out of there, and they will get him out of there. I think they'll do their best to hold on, but if he's going to go, he's just going to go. I mean, they're not going to do some big blockbuster trade for him or for someone,
Yeah, it's just the way they have to go about it is just unfortunate for them, and they have to deal with it at this point. You're not going to have them sit there and not play, because that's ridiculous to do that. And we'll see what happens with Dallas. But very, very interesting to see what happens in the coming week, because this can change the landscape of the NFL depending on what team he goes to. He can go. He can go to a team. Obviously, it doesn't matter who you have at that spot as a pass rusher. Who can come in and he can join them. But if there's a team that really lacks that, and they can bring in someone to help them, they'll be excuse me, but they'll be out of control, whatever team you can go to. We'll see what happens. And then the next bit of news, Terry McLaurin, Biggie, I want you to break this one down, because for Washington, listen, Parsons is I think Parsons means more to Dallas than what McLaurin can mean to Washington, but I think you can argue that. But I feel that what Washington did last year, they cannot go backwards and lose him, right?
No, I agree with you 100%. I think Terry McLaurin is a huge part of, why their success, why they had that success. And for him to do that, I'm kind of shocked. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't expect
I'm very
this.
confused by this.
I don't know why he wants out. But if he gets out, that's going to hurt them, I think.
Big time.
And this is the year for, the Commanders to, I mean, they had the fantastic season last year. Came to the end with the Eagles, but the season they had, I mean, with Jaden Daniels, and he had a fantastic first. I mean, come on. Can't have a better rookie season than that, realistically.
Really can't. You really can't. Yeah,
you really can't. And you lose in Terry McLaurin, like I said, was a big part of it. They have Debo, but Debo's I don't think he's going to be, it's not one of those situations where it's like, okay, we lose McLaurin, but we have Debo. It's kind of like, oh, we have Debo now. I think it's a downgrade, honestly, if you lose McLaurin. But yeah, I think it's not going to hurt the Commanders as much as Parsons leaving the Cowboys would hurt the Cowboys. They're different levels of impact, I think, but they're both, it's still significant nonetheless.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel this would hurt Jaden Daniels is like his growth a lot.
Yes, because you get rid of his top receiver. I mean,
yeah, and
what do you do there?
You knew last year when Jaden Daniels is in trouble, he was giving it to him. Now, if you take McLaurin out of the equation, it depends obviously what you get back in a trade. But I really don't think you're going to get anybody to his production that can contribute right now.
No, I don't know anybody else who would be, on the trade block at this point in the year. Any other team that a receiver for that sake that's on his level. You know what I mean?
No, you're not going
to get some high level receiver for him right now. You know what I mean? It's it's going into the middle of August. We're at the beginning of August, but by the time something comes around, it will be like the middle of August. So.
Yeah, I really don't see, like you just said, I really don't see anybody like shaking loose or anything like that. I did see today like a report of maybe Tyreek Hill, but I don't see that happening right now.
Yeah, that's a far stretch.
Yeah, I don't know right now. Maybe. I know a lot of people are saying that Miami looks like that one of those teams that can have a dumpster fire type of season just based off of things that have happened for them, which we'll get to in a little bit. But you never know. Maybe both of these guys stay with their teams till October. Trade deadline comes around. McLaurin's still not happy. Tyreek Hill really doesn't want to be on a losing team. Washington maybe will be in the mix of winning. Yeah, and they just switch. We could see that, but I don't see it happening now. That I don't. No. I don't see that happening. And then a little bit of other news. This isn't really asking for a trade, but James Cook is looking for a new deal, so he's showing up every day, but he's not practicing. So that's, I guess, the new thing, holding in, so they just show up so they don't get fined. They don't practice. That's a little loophole. You'll have to see when the players do, some loophole type things to. Try to get their point across. But what do you make of this? Because I feel if he doesn't, I think he will play and get the contract he's looking for. If he misses any little bit of time, I think this can hurt the Bills a lot, honestly.
Oh, I agree 100%. And I think the Bills are at a point now where it's really, I mean, it has been for the last couple of years, but it's make or break time now for the Bills. I mean,
really,
Josh Allen's going into his 7th season right now, I believe, right? 6th or 7th.
Yeah, right. He was a 20. Let's see. I think
that.
Yeah, I think you're right though.
Let's see. Josh Allen drafted in 2018. Oh wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I feel old. Remember him being a rookie.
That went quick.
Wow. I remember him playing at Wyoming. Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're at a point now where it's make or break. They've lost in the AFC Championship the last 4. Like, they can't get past Kansas City. Beat them in the regular season, can't beat them when it matters. And you're kind of at a point. I mean, you lost Stephon Diggs, right? He's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you lose some guy. I know they lost. Who else did they lose? There was a couple guys, didn't they? Or just
they did defensively. Well, they didn't have Diggs last year, and they still did well without him. Obviously, without
I mean, like I'm talking overtime.
Yeah,
I'm talking
overtime now. Like you don't want to screw this up.
I know. Starting at the beginning, okay, they lost Diggs, who was significant for them, and now they're kind of getting to a point now where they did okay without him. They did.
Yeah, they did good, but still, you know what I mean. It's a little tricky. A little tricky.
Lost some guys on defense, and now you're having a contract dispute with James Cook, who produced a lot for you, and
ton of touchdowns last year. If I remember, I think it was like upward towards 20. He had that good of a year.
He was one of the more I don't want to say under the radar because the Bills are a great team and he's definitely not.
But he kind of was.
He kind of was. Like they weren't talking about like when you talk about the best running backs. You talk about James Cook is in your whatever ranking, but he's not like one of the first mentioned. I feel like he should be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
He definitely should
be. I mean, he was the offensive juggernaut there for the Bills last year. So
yeah, and I was gonna say they became. And earlier in Allen's career, they were a very, very pass-heavy team. Last year was the first year where they really dedicated to the run game first. Well, and look what happened. Look how good he did.
You kind of had to.
Without Diggs, you didn't have anybody proven.
I mean, you had what? Kincaid, you throw to him, but he's a tight. You know what I mean?
And he's a rookie at last year.
He's a rookie too. He's a rookie tight end, still pretty good, but you lose that pass dynamic. You know what I mean? So I feel like they adjusted well to losing their pass threat, to say the least, and no one really talked about it as much as I thought they should last year. And
honestly, I'm with Cook on this one. He deserves to get paid just because
I agree.
I feel he's gonna be even better because he's not only a runner, he provides all the other things that you look for in a running back, and he does everything. So that's why. I mean, I hate to say it because I'm a Jets fan, but like. When the Jets are playing him, we're like, damn, all right, we got to really watch out for this guy.
Yeah.
And he definitely deserving of that. And then staying in the AFC East, Zach Seiler signs a 3-year, $67 million extension with Miami. So like we just said before, Miami has had a lot go wrong for them since training camp opened up, but at least they keep one of their very, very productive defensive linemen around. I wrote here, finally a positive move for the Dolphins because they really had a rough beginning to training camp. I believe they lost now 4 guys in their secondary since training camp opened.
Yeah,
that's rough. Yeah, I don't know even how you recover from that at this early into the if you want to call the season at this point. But yeah, this early into it, and you already lost 4 secondary pieces. And then to put that all aside, their cornerback room is one of the worst in going into training camp. They have nobody.
Yeah, no, they don't.
I don't know who. We might have to play cornerback for them. They have nobody. They really have nobody in that secondary. They're going to get lit up every game in the pass game by anybody, really. I mean, I know Justin Fields is the quarterback of my team, but I could see him throwing for a ton of yards against that secondary.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I could see it. Like, I mean, I know their defensive line is good, so I'm sure they'll get a ton of pressure on the quarterback, which can help a secondary that stinks. And Seiler will be a big part of that. But still, like, you can only do so much, especially when you're going up against a team with a good O-line that neutralizes your pass rush, and you got nobody back there. You might as well put water bottles. Right? Like, I don't know. I really don't know what
water bottles behind there.
Yeah, I really don't know what they're going to do. So I'm not complaining, but as a Dolphin fan, if any of you out there watching or whatever, I feel for you guys right now because they're going on the trajectory of having a bad season. You can just feel it. When you can sense it.
And they're one of those teams that you kind of get a little high on, and they have good runs, but they just don't. They're not, elite. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
you feel like they should be better than they are.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And especially the last couple of years, they should have been better than they were. They did it. Like I said, they've been. They're a little bit above mediocre. If that's the best. That's the best way to put it.
That's how you're gonna have to put it. Yeah. They
now
do.
You kind of feel like it's not going to be that way this year.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel. Something doesn't feel right with that team. It feels like something's going to happen that causes them to just have a really, really, rough season. But we'll see what happens. And before we move on past the NFL, we're gonna give we're gonna go through each division and kind of rank it 1 through 4, what we think is gonna happen before we get to week 1. So this is kind of be our preseason, prediction. Just of everybody, see what they're at. Because a lot can happen, obviously, from now to the first week of injuries.
Yeah, I mean, you see some of these trade requests that are coming out. It could be a whole different landscape than the next couple of weeks.
So what we're gonna bookmark this. We're gonna say, okay, what we said now. We'll see if we stand with that when we get to a month from now in September, or there's some things that totally get flipped upside down. You never know what can happen.
Yeah.
But let's start with the NFC. We'll start with the NFC East. Biggie, you go first, and I'm sure we'll agree on a lot. or we may not agree on anything. We'll see what happens. But yeah,
you know what I
start with
just
the NFC.
realized? For
Yeah.
baseball and football, this works good for us because you're an AFC fan, I'm an NFC fan, and then I'm
Yeah.
an AL fan, and you're an NL fan. And I mean,
It
how does
works.
that work?
It works out. It works out perfectly here.
It does, yeah.
But yeah, so go with your. We'll each of us. We'll rank every division. Maybe a team that we think that is going to do very, very well. That people in the majority don't think so. Because I feel like
yeah, right.
I have one team in mind that we'll get to in a little bit that people are sleeping on a lot, which I don't understand it, but we'll get to it. But yeah, start with the NFC East. I will probably agree on this one because I kind of feel like this is the easier division.
This is definitely one of the easier ones to predict. Absolutely. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to win it again. I mean, I don't think that people are like, oh, it's so obvious they're going back to back. I'm saying this right now. I don't think they do. I don't think they win back to back.
It's very hard. Very, very.
It's very hard to do. And I'm not saying this is going to happen. It's a completely different team. But you saw what happened after they won the Super Bowl in the season they had after that. That 2018-19 season was not a good season at all. I mean, they still were good, but they weren't, it was like there was some eyebrows raised like, wow, they have a little Super Bowl hangover. Mm-hmm. And I get it. It was the first one, and the Eagles fans, I remember myself. I mean, that was top 10 moment in my life. And everyone who was a Philadelphia Eagles fan, it absolutely, even if you're just like a casual fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, that still hit you very hard. Because that's just the culture of the Eagles. Like stuff like that hits you hard, even if you're just, a casual fan. You're not like a diehard. You know what I mean? It's that type of thing. But I think they win it again. I don't think they win the Super Bowl again, personally. I think give it another year. I think they do win it next year.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I think they're going to keep most of their key guys. I mean, they did have some losses on defense, some trades. I mean, their secondary, their two corners are gone, Darius Slay and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. But for the most part, they're returning pretty much the entire offense. They're returning majority defense, not all. They did lose a couple guys, some key guys, but they did have a good draft, I think, personally. So I don't think it'll be that much of an issue. But the Eagles first. And this one is tough now because of the Terry McLaurin situation. I was saying Commanders all the way to go, second place in this division. Absolutely. But I don't want to say the Giants get second, but this bottom three, I mean, it could go any way. You know what I mean? But I still think Commanders, they're a little more talented and I think a little more put together than the Giants are.
Yeah.
I don't think the Giants are going to be as bad as they were last year. They're not going to be great. They're probably going to miss out on the playoffs again, but they're not going to be, as bad as they were last year. I think it's going to be a little bit better of a season in New York this year. But I don't think they beat out Washington. I think Washington gets second. Giants are, and then the way it looks in Dallas right now, they're going to be terrible. They might miss the playoffs this year. This is why they should have hired someone outside of the system. I laughed when they hired their defensive coordinator as their head coach. I laughed very hard. And seeing the way that it's going right now, I'm laughing even harder. Not showing it right now, but I watched that video and I laugh at it. But they're going to finish last. So yeah, that's my NFC East: Eagles, Commanders, Giants, Cowboys.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to go with. Okay. I agree. I totally agree with you on the Eagles. I was going to ask you listen, the whole offense is coming back, but the play caller is different, and that's something that they've had to deal with every year, and they get over it.
But I was going to say they've done that for the last. Jalen Hurts is
literally
6 years, different OTs,
5 years now at this point.
Yeah.
Every year it changes. But I feel the beginning of the season could be a little bit of an adjustment, and you never know what can happen in terms of what's happening during the game. But the defense will be a little interesting to watch because they did get younger by letting some guys go, which I think that's going to benefit them. I feel like some of their young players last year in that Super Bowl run, they got more playing time as the year went on, and they impressed.
We were a young defense, and it was they showed out. They really did, especially my boy Cooper DeJean, my favorite Eagles player. Right, and
his role is only going to get more and more.
I was going to say he's going to be a leader on that defense now, 100%. I mean, he was last year; he was the top guy for us. But this is, after that year, he's going to be a leader on this team.
And that's exactly what I was going to. Like that, I like what they did defensively. I know there's a lot of people out there that said, I would have ran it back with some of these older guys. Listen, when you're up there in age like that, your play doesn't really get better. There's a few
guys do,
that,
yes,
yeah,
especially
but not
defensively.
Yeah, not many guys can continue to play at a high level as they get older. It really doesn't happen. I mean, it's not even their fault. It's just the way life goes. It's just
especially defensively, especially the linebackers,
cornerback, especially playing
even
cornerback.
I mean, look at a whole defense. I'd say the least of that is a safety. But especially you have your guys in the trenches and your linebackers, especially even corners still, because that's a lot of that mobility even too, because you got a lot of, you're working backwards essentially. You know what I mean? That's a lot of agility and mobility that you have to maintain over the years. You know what I mean?
100%.
A lot of work.
100%. So yeah, I'll agree with you. I have the Eagles in first. This is the thing. If McLaurin is on this team for the Commanders, I feel they can challenge the Eagles for first place. I feel like it can be that close.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you 100%. Yeah, I saw it last year.
Yeah, and that wasn't really
from the NFC Championship game, but in the regular season, we saw it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. That game in Washington, I know Hurts got hurt, but that was one of those games you're like,
I'm sorry. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I never did, even when he was in college and he played at Pitt and, watched him play against Syracuse.
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Everyone loves him. No. I'm sorry. I'm like one of Kenny Pickett's number one haters. You'll come to realize I don't like him. I never did. I hated him at Pitt. Hated it when he came to the Eagles. I rolled my eyes. When everyone told me that he was going to be a franchise quarterback in Pittsburgh, I laughed in their faces. I said, I watched him for 5-6 years in college, or 10 million years, however long he was at Pitt, because he was there for a whole century. And granted, Pitt beat Syracuse 2-3 times, but that's okay. It wasn't Kenny Pickett's doing. It was Pitt had some decent teams, and Syracuse was also god awful for a majority of that stretch. I'm a big Kenny Pickett hater.
It's okay. There's always some random guy out there that we don't like, and we have reasons for it. Mine. I get it. Yeah. I totally get it. So I got Eagles, Commanders. I think the Giants actually. How many wins did they have last year? 4?
3, I think.
They I don't know what it is inside that I'm feeling, but I think they may have the same amount of wins. I don't think they're gonna. I really don't think that. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I think there'd be a little bit of improvement. I want to go that bad again. I think there's be a little bit of improvement.
I remember earlier. Was it today or yesterday? I looked at the schedule for the first 8 weeks. I was like, nope.
They might go 0-8.
Nope. That's all I kept doing. I was like, let me see if I can pull it up. I just kept saying, I was like, oh, they're not winning this game. They're not winning this game. So they got the Commanders. They got the Commanders week 1. Mm-hmm. They have Dallas on the road in week 2. So I don't feel like they're going to win that one.
Even if Dallas loses Micah, that's still a tough environment.
Yeah, and then they have Kansas City week 3, Chargers week 4. That's an 0-4 start. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Chargers, listen, that could be a tricky game for the Chargers just coming from the West Coast and everything like that. I still think the Chargers win. They could beat the Saints.
I was just going to say they could beat the Saints. I think they got that one.
We'll give them that one, but then they have the Eagles, Broncos, and Eagles again. Those next 3 games are Eagles, Broncos, and Eagles. 2 of those are on the road, so I could see them maybe not 0-8, 1-7 to start the year.
All right,
and then after that, it's kind of tough for them as well. So it's like
they'll beat the Bears, they'll beat the Patriots. They will probably beat Vegas at that point in the year.
Yeah, the Vegas is improved though. That's the
thing. They have,
and they do have good coaching now. So you gotta, I don't know, man. I say at most the Giants have 6 wins at most. I give them that, but I really don't even think they're gonna get there. I don't know what it is. I just don't see them doing it. And I think that the quarterback room, I know they have what they think is quality players. I think it's just going to become a circus. I really do. I don't think it's going to work out too well. There's too many not to their fault. I just think there's too many personalities, and I feel like there's some point. Listen, Russ is going to start the season. How long does he get? They're not going to want to put Dart in when the team stinks because he's not going to develop. They're going to put Jameis in there for what? For what? Just for excitement? And what is he going to do?
I love Jameis Winston. Don't get me wrong; he's one of my favorite NFL players. But I agree with you.
And then the fans are going to be screaming out for Tommy Cutlets, of course, because he's still on the team. So that's another element to this. Huh?
I have a gripe with Tommy Cutlets too.
Oh
A
yeah,
little
why is
less
that?
now. Well, because he sucked at Syracuse, and I hated him. And then
Oh yeah.
I'll talk about. I'll give you a rundown here. So I don't know if because you're from New York, you might know about Tommy DeVito's run at Syracuse. He was god awful, by the way. But I hated him until I saw him play in the NFL. And I saw Syracuse improve after firing Dino Babers, their head coach. So it tells me Dino Babers was the problem, not Tommy DeVito. Because I don't know if you know Tommy DeVito's senior year or his last year at Illinois. He had a really good year. He played well
Yeah,
at
I
Illinois.
remember. That's how
And
I
he's
remember
and
him.
he's done well in his time in the NFL. I wouldn't say he's an elite quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that,
No.
but he's done well. And Syracuse sucked under Dino, and you saw how much they improved in a year when they brought in Fran Brown. So I think my hatred for him is diminished quite a bit because I finally realized, it wasn't his fault. You look back on it, it was not his fault.
Yeah, okay.
But I hated him at his hair. Me and my father would just talk about how bad Tommy DeVito is for 3 years straight. I'm not even kidding. Our conversations during football season were for how much Tommy DeVito sucks, and they need to stop giving him as much attention as they are. Because they gave him the same attention like how he gets in the Giants now. They did that at Syracuse. They did that to him at Syracuse too.
Yeah.
And like that, every time you hear like a radio ad for him when we're up there, or like something on Instagram, he's like, they need to stop giving this guy so much praise. He sucks. So I'm like, I agree, but we look back on it now, and it's like I think the common denominator was the head coach at the time. So
there's always a story behind a
and that's mine with Tommy Cutlets.
I get it. So I'll go Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, and Giants. So whatever, that's what it was last year. I kind of feel like it's going to be in the same order. I could definitely see Dallas becoming a dumpster fire where they don't win many games, and I can see. If Parsons stays in Dallas and McLaurin leaves Washington, I can see Dallas possibly bumping up over Washington. Because Dallas has talent. It's just that they have too many distractions.
Yeah, and it's looking horrible right now.
Yeah. But everything can be fixed when Dak goes out there and plays well, at least for the beginning of the year. Because usually he does start out pretty good.
Yeah, no, he does. Yes.
And then by the middle of the end of the season, usually that he gets hurt or
that's
something
when that's when they start to fall off. They have a good start every year.
Exactly. So I could see Dallas going either way, but yeah. We'll move to the NFC North here, which I think is probably or can be the most competitive division in
I agree.
The NFC. Probably the entire
for
NFL.
3 teams, maybe if you're 3.
Yeah. I know where you're going with that, but I could definitely see this division being great. So give me your standings here. Let's hear it.
Yeah. The Detroit Lions. I mean, that preseason game. I know it's only preseason. It's all that, but it didn't look good.
No, you know what I mean? They struggled.
So they did, and I think a very important aspect of a football team is depth, and it shows that the Lions don't have any. And it even show. I mean, they had a fantastic year last year, but you saw when they lost their key guys on defense. I mean, oh my God, some of those they had some gaping holes on defense. They really did. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it goes to show you how important depth could be on a football team. And I think for that aspect, I don't see them winning it this year. I'm pretty high on Minnesota this year. I don't know about you, but
yeah, I think that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, I think Minnesota takes it this year. I think they take it. Lions second, and I hate to put the Packers third, but I think this top 3 is going to be really competitive. I think the Packers could compete with Detroit for that. I think it's going to be very competitive. You know what I mean? I think the Packers are a team that, the last couple of times they've been kind of slept on. You know what I mean? People do still sleep on the Packers. I think they're a good team. I think they're going to be solid. I think they're going to compete. And then I think there's going to be a big gap between whoever gets third and the Chicago Bears. I'm sorry. I just don't think they don't have – I mean, Caleb, I mean, he doesn't – have you seen some of the clips from training camp of him?
Yeah, there was something I saw yesterday. You know, like the drill, they throw it into the net. It's like the 3.
Yep.
He missed like 8 in a row.
Yeah, I mean, guys have bad days. I get it. I played football for 8 years of my life, and not everyone's going to be perfect every day. I mean, there were days where, in college when I played at Wilkes, there were days our quarterback was doing that, our starting guy, or he, threw a couple picks. You miss a couple blocks, you drop a bunch of catches. I mean, guys have bad days, but in the NFL, it's kind of different, I think. You can kind of look at things and make speculations. You don't want to assume the worst all the time, but you can make some speculations. And we know how the Bears are besides him for the most part. But, yeah, I just think there's going to be a pretty significant jump between the third place, which I think is going to be, unfortunately, I hate to say it, Green Bay, and the Bears.
All right. Yeah, I actually 100% agree with everything you just said. Minnesota, though, like, listen, if McCarthy, I think their team is that good where McCarthy doesn't have to play great at all for them to win.
That's something I want to bring up. JJ McCarthy. I mean, this is the first time we're going to see him play in the NFL. I'm actually kind of excited because
I am too.
I'm excited to see him play. I really am. Being kind of an NFC rival to the Eagles, I don't really have a liking towards the Vikings, but I do like JJ McCarthy. I did in college too. So I'm kind of excited to see how he does. And I think, like you said, the Minnesota Vikings are a talented squad. So I think even if he doesn't perform very highly, I think they're still going to do very well.
Yeah. That's just because of the rest of that roster. The offensive line got better and the defensive line got better.
Yes.
And they were already good last year. So
I was going to say, they already had a fantastic year last year.
Yeah, and they just put the little details onto whatever was needed. They have great coaching. And with Detroit, I feel like they even those injuries they suffered last year are still coming into this year on defense. And that's a problem. They also
the depth.
Yeah, they have no depth. They lost both of their OC and their DC over the offseason, which is big. Especially I feel on the offensive end, just because that way that offense was ran was very, very smooth. And not every guy is going to want to, this guy, whoever I forgot. Morton is calling the plays now. He's done it before. So he's not going to want to, he's going to want to put his, how should I say this? He wants to put his spin on the playbook, which, I mean, rightfully so. I understand if I'm coming into like getting a promotion, based off of something I know I've done it years past, but I'm getting a promotion within this staff. I'm going to want to put something on there that I've done. And I get it, but it's also like the Lions have done so well with the offense they've had the past few years. They should stick with that, but I don't think that's going to happen because, I don't know, me personally, I would do the same thing. I would have been like, I don't agree with some of the things that we did and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And even from playing and having I'm trying to think. Well, I only played 2 years in college. I'm just trying to compare it football because now we can talk a little more in depth on football. So I know I've had 2 different OCs, and it's different. It absolutely is different. You know what I mean? And again, you have guys that even guys that have been on the team as assistants, they have stuff that they want to do, no matter the system or not, and maybe it doesn't work as well as they would think. So I don't know. I agree with you on that though. That's a good point to bring up.
Yeah, and what I was going to say was, how the Vikings and the Lions, if I remember right, the Lions had 15 wins last year, and the Vikings had 14 or something like that.
I think it was vice versa, something like that.
Yeah, whatever it was, if I remember right. But I don't think they will have as many wins this year. I could say that
either team,
yeah. I feel like the NFC as a whole is more competitive, so I feel like both teams will have less wins, but they'll still have good years. And then Packers, I don't really find that. I don't have a problem with them at all. I just feel like they're not. I think they're getting closer to Detroit and Minnesota, but I just don't think they're right. I don't think they're there yet. I know we say that every year, pretty much for the past 3 years. But I still think they're going to be a good team. They'll probably be in the playoffs as a lower seed like they have been, and there's really nothing they can do about it. It's just that they're in a really tough division. And then with the Bears, I don't really believe in any of the hype that people are putting out there. I don't see it.
That was my point I was trying to make earlier. I don't see it. Like I said, there's going to be a big gap.
And Ben Johnson hasn't coached a game yet. Listen, he could be a terrific OC. It does not mean you're going to be a good head coach. I'm not saying that he's not going to be.
We've seen that before.
But we've seen it. We've seen it in a number of times where that happens, where the hot candidate of the offseason goes to whatever team, and they don't do anything really as a head coach. We could see that happening. But, I'll go Minnesota, just like you said, Minnesota, Detroit, Green Bay, and Chicago. But first place, honestly, I could see either – Minnesota or Detroit winning, but possibly Green Bay. But I feel like first place could be a toss-up, but we'll see what happens. Let's move to the NFC South, which is I don't know about this division. I mean, usually never really that good, but I don't know this year.
I don't know. I mean, this is one of those ones where it's going to be competitive, but not on a level where the teams are necessarily elite. It's a competitive of who's more mid than the other team.
Pretty much,
That's how the NFC South has been. But I think this is a tough one. I think it's going to be kind of a competitive battle between two teams. Can you guess who I think who I think is going to be?
Tampa and Atlanta.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I don't know how to feel about Michael Penix. I think he's okay. I think he's good.
He has room
But
to
he has room to
grow, but
improve, though.
he definitely has
Absolutely.
talent. Definitely a ton
Yeah.
of talent.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I would hate to put a team with him second, but I think Tampa Bay is a little more well-rounded than Atlanta is.
Yes.
And I really like Baker Mayfield. I'm a big Baker Mayfield fan. You'll come to see that as the season goes on. I love Baker Mayfield. So I think Tampa wins the NFC South. Not going to have a fantastic record, kind of like last year in the last couple of years. I think they win it, but they're not going to be a flashy team. Then Atlanta, going to be very close with Atlanta. Then I think Carolina gets third this year. And I hate to do this. Sorry, Mom. The Saints finished last. My mom's a huge Saints fan, so.
I feel bad for her then.
Oh, she was.
Yeah, about to say.
Yeah, she wants them to bring Sean Payton back. She loves Sean Payton.
Unfortunately, he's turning another team around.
So yeah, he is.
He's not going to be leaving that one anytime soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, first two, 100% agree. Tampa and Atlanta. Actually, first the entire division, I agree with you on. But going back to what you said about Tampa Bay, their offense is going to be a well-oiled machine. I know that Liam Cohen's gone, but I still feel that offense, they got even better than what they were last year, which is crazy. Bucky Irving's going to become he's going to be more into, obviously, a full-time role than what he had to get into last year. They drafted Ibuka in the first round. Compared to what they already had a great wide receiver room. They just added to it. Todd Bowles doesn't really win you games. He doesn't really lose you games either. He's kind of just there as a coach. The defense is still talented. But I think they're going to win the division. They'll probably go like 10-7. That's usually what they do, 10-7. Atlanta, I feel, has more potential. Like they could very easily have a great year. I just don't know if they're going to be off the bat in like that, ready to go to win.
Yeah, and that's kind of how last year was for him a little bit too. It took him a little bit of a slower start, and we kind of got to see Michael Penix develop as the year went on because he got in. They had Kirk Cousins last year, remember too?
Yeah, and he is still there. So, but they will not go to him. They won't.
That's what I was just gonna say. We saw how they were when Penix got in. You know what I mean? It got better. You know what I mean? So we're gonna see Penix start the year out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I'm curious to see. Like, I know Kirk won't be a problem. He's just not like that type of guy.
Not
but
anymore,
you never know. You never know. Like, what he could be sitting there and be like, "Oh, yeah, why can't I play?" Like, say the Falcons start out rough.
Yeah.
And I feel if I'm the Falcons, I would try to get rid of him before the season starts. But it's also like. Maybe a team, you never know at this point. A quarterback can get injured on a team and they don't have any.
I was going to say, and you would rather have him than someone else. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what they. I'm not saying they should hope for an injury, but I feel for the Falcons to avoid a distraction, they should try their best to get him to another team. I feel that to avoid any because that's pressure on Penix too. Like it is. Yeah, he knows he has a starting spot and he knows it's not going to get taken away from him because they can't go back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Unless it's really bad. Unless
he has like a terrible year. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Unless they start out with like one win in their first 6 games and he looks awful. Then But if he's playing average quarterback play, they're not going to go back. They just won't do that because you can't. You really can't do that.
No.
And then I have Carolina third. And actually, I think Carolina is going to shock a lot of people this year.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I like everything about them. It took them a while last year. The back half of the season, they looked very, very impressive. Bryce Young took that benching to heart, and he came back and he balled out. I feel he's going to continue that. They got better.
He's got a chip on his shoulder. He got
100% now, yeah. They got better on both sides of the ball. Canales showed he knows how to coach a little bit, which is good. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team this year, but I feel like they're going to take the next step. So I feel like maybe a 7-win season from Carolina is not out of the picture at all. I could see that happening. And then, unfortunately for the Saints, I actually think they're going to be the worst team in the league. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Their quarterback play is going to be. I don't care who it is. Their quarterback play might be the worst in the league by a ton. I don't know what they're gonna do. They're in trouble.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just I don't know. They're one of those teams that it's just there's what do they have going for them?
They got nothing. I
They
mean, I know
really don't. I
they
mean,
have Olave, they have Kamara, but they have no quarterback. What do they get?
no.
How are these guys going to get what they need?
And even those two, I mean, they're not guys that you can lean on like that.
No, the injuries, like suspensions,
It's going to be a rough couple years for the Saints, probably more. But
this year is going to be really bad for them. Like you know what team's going to have a rough season when everybody can unanimously agree that they're going to be the team that stinks. Like it. Like it's going to be tough for them.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough year. I agree.
Kellen Moore stepped into a job that wasn't really desired by others, so I get it. Props to him for he's going to try to be the guy that turns it around, but
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
I love him. He's great. He did well for the Eagles, but I just don't think they have the talent to work with anything really.
No, they got to give him time though. Hopefully they give him, I would say, give him 4 or 5 years to really get it turned around, to get it to the type of team he wants. Because this is not a team that can win many games at all. We'll end the NFC here with the NFC West, which is going to be a very, very interesting division.
Yeah,
this is to say the least, right?
Yeah, what do you got? I agree. Man, I don't really even know where to start with this. I'll be quite honest with you.
It's a good division.
It's pretty good, to say the least. I don't really know where to go first here. Because none of these teams I can really confidently say will win this division, but someone has to. I think Seattle has a shot.
Yeah,
I just don't know. It's like
it's tough.
Yeah, and then LA's kind of not like what they used to be. They lost they lost a lot of guys, but I really like the production of Puka Nacua last year. You know what I mean? And Matt Stafford's kind of getting to that point now where he's not really that good anymore. And I think Sean McVay's whole shtick, I love Sean McVay, but his whole thing's kind of dying out, I think. Like the Rams are like one of those teams that's slowly fallen down, you know what I mean, from where they were a couple years ago. But yeah, I don't really know. 49ers, I mean, they were plagued by injuries.
Yeah,
they were plagued by injuries. They were probably one of the most depleted teams we saw last year.
Mm-hmm.
And they did lose Debo, and the Eagles got who was it? What's his name? A defensive guy. Bryce. What's his name? Oh my God.
You had me drawing a blank right now.
Oh my God, you're right. Bryce Huff.
Oh yeah. Okay, I was like,
they lost Bryce Huff to the Eagles. Great job, but that's hurting the 49ers. And again, could CMC stay healthy?
Yeah, so that's the big key.
That's the big question. If he does, I could see them winning. If he doesn't, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is really tough, but it could really be anywhere between those three there. I don't think Arizona is going to compete for first. I think that's a team we can kind of rule out to win.
Yeah.
They just haven't done anything significant. Kyler Murray hasn't been producing that well at quarterback. But if I had to take one of these teams to win it, I'm going to go safe and say San Francisco wins it this year. I think they improve. They did lose some key guys, but I hope for them, and I think this might be the case, the injuries don't plague them this year and they have a better season, they win. Then Seattle second, I think personally. I think this is a year where the Rams have a significant drop-off. So that's why I would pick Seattle over LA.
Okay.
Personally. And then Arizona. So I'm going to go San Francisco, Seattle, LA, and Arizona.
All right. I agree with you on the last team. I am all in on the Rams, honestly.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, I am all in on them. I know their defense is very, very young, and they've gotten a lot better. They've used a ton of their draft picks that obviously now they have first-round picks after a long time not having them. They've gotten a lot better on the defense. And if you remember in that playoff run for the Eagles, the only team that really gave them a run for their money was the Rams. And I feel like if that game wasn't snowing, that could have turned out a little differently. If you know what I'm getting to.
Yeah, it could have knocked us out, and we would have never saw that legendary Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I feel like they got better from that point. I know Stafford. I feel Stafford definitely has declined in play. But when you have someone like bringing in Devontae Adams who can still play at a high level, you have Puka Nacua who is really, really good. You have Kyron Williams. You have a lot of weapons there. The offensive line is solid for Stafford, so he really won't get hit that much. I'm going to take them to win the division. I'm that high on them. I really like the Rams. But I will say, just like you said, if San Francisco's healthy, they got Mr. Robert Saleh back as their defensive coordinator.
Yes, they
do. That's a game changer. Good.
I agree.
He is that good on the defensive side of the ball. Listen, I could not stand him as a head coach, but he knows how to coach defense, and he can develop guys. That whole defense is very young. It was the same with the Jets. He developed literally almost their entire – what the Jets have now starting on defense pretty much is guys he developed, especially at the linebacker position. And with San Francisco – he can develop them. They brought back basically that philosophy of what Saleh likes is basically an 8-man rotation at defensive line. They have a lot of quality players who could play on that line for them. And the offense, if those guys are healthy, all of those guys out there, Ayuk, McCaffrey, Purdy, Kittle, obviously, and the offensive line, they can be very, very good. So I'm going to take San Francisco to finish second just because they have a lot of question marks on them right now. But if they're fully healthy, I could very easily agree with you saying they're first. And then I'm going to go Seattle third, Arizona fourth. Seattle, I don't know what to expect with them because now Sam Darnold is their quarterback. I know Darnold was the best quarterback, almost the best quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you want to argue last year.
In the talks for it.
But I feel his production is going to go down a lot this year. I know Seattle has weapons for him, Smith and Jigba and Cooper Kupp. Now in Seattle, but I feel like Darnold is not going to have as much success just because the coaching is not going to be as strong as what it was with Minnesota. So I'm going to go with them third, but I think they'll be an 8-9, 9-8 type of team, Seattle. And then Arizona, they just really they have talent and they just never able to put it together. I don't know why they can't do it, but they can't. So I really don't think that they're going to do anything this year. So I'll go Rams, 49ers, Seahawks, and Cardinals. All right, let's go to the AFC. We'll kick it off with the AFC East. Biggie, what do you got for this one? I think this one is a more obvious division than most, but we'll see what you got.
I have to say right here, Buffalo Bills win this one again. It's another one of those easily win this one. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, we're kind of talking low on Miami, but I still think they finish second.
They probably will still, even though we're talking so low on them. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll give the Jets third. I think they can beat out the Patriots. And I think this is literally it's going to be like the Jets have 5 wins and the Patriots have 4. It's going to be like one of those situations. They're going to be battling. It's going to be the toilet bowl, the Jets and Patriots.
I agree.
So I'm going to go Buffalo, Miami, New York, and New England.
Okay, I like where you're going there. Buffalo definitely first. I think that the Patriots have a lot of hype to them, which I don't really understand it. I don't think they've gotten that much better. But I think that the Dolphins are going to stink. Patriots, like I just said, aren't going to be that good. And the Jets, I'm a Jet fan, and I know they're going to suck. I have no faith in them. But I can very easily see second place having like 6 wins. I could see it being that bad in the AFC East, where the Bills have like 12, 13 wins, and then the second place team has 6. So right now, obviously it can change, but right now I will go Bills. I'm going to go with the Jets as second with 6 wins. That's what I'm going to do. Jets in second place with 6 wins.
Okay.
Then I'll go Dolphins in third with 6 or 5 wins, whatever you want to say. And then the Patriots in last. We could see that changing, but I'm not saying Jets second place. Oh my God, Jets are in second. I'm only saying that because I feel like they can be better than both Miami and the Patriots. and that's like comparing. You're not comparing much. All of those teams are not going to be good at all.
No, it's going to be rough.
That's what we'll do. We'll do Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Patriots. But when we get back to in a month from now, I'll probably change that. Let's get to the AFC North, which should be another really good division this year.
Yeah, for the most part. Baltimore wins this one again. Or Baltimore wins the division, I should say. Yeah, Baltimore wins the division. I think that's pretty obvious. I think they're going to be good again. I think it's another one of those teams that we can kind of say they're going to be good. And then I don't think they're going to have. I don't think I always hate to talk down the Steelers, but I kind of don't see them being as good as last year. This might be their first year missing out on the playoffs. If they're going to do it, it's going to be this year, I think. Say what you want about Aaron Rodgers, say what you want about, DK, and, say what you want about all these guys, but I think this might be their first year where they miss the playoffs. It's going to be there's a 50-50 chance for them this year, I think. But I think they still fall second fiddle to Baltimore. Even if they do, they're still going to, I think Baltimore still beats them out. Then I'm going to go Cincinnati, who, again, this is going to be another one of those divisions where it's the toilet bowl at the bottom. Cincinnati and Cleveland, the two Browns going at it. Paul Brown Stadium and the Cleveland Browns. They're going to go at it for who's going to finish last, and I think Cleveland finishes last. And Cincinnati, they've had some trouble. Joe Burrow has no help at all, and they've had a lot of contract disputes. I remember talking about it on this show. Some people wanting out, some more contracts. It's just both of those teams are pretty low right now, to say the least. And you got to feel bad for Joe Burrow. He has no help. He's so good. He has no one around him. But yeah, I think it's going to go Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Cleveland.
I agree, and I can I understand what Cincinnati. Listen, we said this. They can score with literally anybody, but that defense is going to be so bad that they're not going to win many games. They're really not. They'll beat the bad teams, obviously, but those good teams, they'll hang with them. They're going to do what they did last year. They're going to lose a ton of one possession games because they won't be able to stop anybody. It's going to be that rough for them. Their defense, and they have a new DC. I don't know if that's going to really change anything for them. I just don't think they have talent. They really don't have that much talent.
Yeah, that's the problem.
They continue to lose guys. They continue to lose guys, and they do stupid stuff with the guys they do have. So I don't
right.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. We'll see what happens with them. I feel if they can improve that defense just a little bit somehow, it would change a lot for them. They can get back to what they were in those playoff runs. They can get to that if that defense improved just a little bit. I feel like they're not that far off, but that defense is just so bad. I make the joke every time. You might as well play 11 napkins on the field. It's literally what
you've said that on the show before.
I've said it numerous times. I was like, I've said it on this show. I've said it on other shows. I'm like, that's literally what they have. 11. I know Hendrickson's good and stuff like that, but put 11 napkins on the field.
Yeah, that leads to my point. That's one of those guys we talked about that kind of was talking about a contract dispute. Had a contract dispute.
He's there, but he still doesn't have a contract. I don't get it.
Yeah, remember the whole thing with them not signing their first round draft pick either. I mean, it's just things like this that you can't think. You got to think team morale sucks.
Yeah, it has to.
You have all these issues going on. It can't be a good scenario, and the team can't perform well under those certain scenarios.
Yeah, and for them, they usually don't start out good. They have to this year, or they're in trouble. They're really in trouble.
Yeah, or else they're gonna have a really bad year. I still, even if they have an extremely bad year, I still think they finish third because Cleveland's just gonna be that bad.
Yeah, so I'll go Baltimore first. I could see even though the Bengals won't be good, I could see them in Pittsburgh kind of being like, a flip-flop type of thing.
Yeah.
And then the Browns last. The Browns suck. I don't even know why people
they're just not even – I know. They're really bad.
They're back to the – 6 quarterbacks. They're a mess.
Yeah. They're back to the old Browns. They're back to the old Browns.
Yeah, they pretty much are. They just signed Tyler Huntley about 10 minutes ago. So they have 6 quarterbacks on the roster.
What are they doing?
Well, Kenny Pickett was injured last week. Shador had a little bit of an injury like a few days ago, and now Dylan Gabriel got hurt today. So
Shador probably stubbed his toe walking out to practice, and he's out.
No, they said it was shoulder soreness. He's actually looked the best out of all their quarterbacks, which is crazy compared to what they think of him. But we'll see what happens with Cleveland. But I don't see them having any success. Let's go to the AFC South, probably the least competitive division in football.
Yeah,
we could agree on that, right?
It's not that dude. The two South divisions. I mean, oh my God,
they stink.
They do. Football in the South, pretty bad. In the NFL, in college, it's
not
the best,
in college. I'll tell you that.
In college, it's the best. The NFL, it sucks for the most part. But this one's also one of those ones that's going to be, just throwing pieces of feces at each other. Gonna be one of those battles. But I think Houston wins it, and
third year in a row,
and they're going to be good. They're a good team, but below them, I think Jacksonville finishes second this year. And they're not going to be horrible either.
No,
they're not going to be great, but they're not going to be
not going to be as bad as people think. I 100% agree. I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah, no. So Houston, Jacksonville, Indianapolis, I think will finish third still, because they're not good, but they're competitive compared to, the Tennessee Titans. They're going to be better with Cam Ward, hopefully. It could be another Caleb Williams situation, but I think they still finish last. I don't think they're going to be 3 and whatever again, but they're going to be not as good. They're going to be improved with Cam Ward, but I just don't see them, being anywhere near even second in this division. So I'm going to go Houston, Jacksonville, Indianapolis, and then Titans, Tennessee.
Yeah. Houston definitely first, Titans last. And then again, the Colts and Jaguars, they could definitely very easily flip-flop.
Yeah,
I like Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville has some. I think Jacksonville has a little spunk to them. I feel like they're gonna play. They're gonna play hard every week.
They have some momentum,
Yeah, they got a little something to them. I like what they did in the offseason. It feels like Liam Cohen definitely is a weirdo, but he could definitely know how to coach. That's too
right. Exactly. Yeah. So look at Mike McDaniel in his first couple of years with Miami.
Yeah. I like that comparison. I feel like that's the type of path he can go on in the beginning with the quarterback that's looking for someone to get the most out of them. I feel like I can totally agree with that. And then the culture, just they have in a weird spot just because they don't know who their quarterback is.
They're a strange team.
Very strange, very very strange team. I could see them finishing second. I could also see them finishing third, like you said. So I'm gonna agree with you though on the standings. And then the Titans, I don't see them really doing much this year. I know Cam Ward is in there, but he doesn't really play yet, so you can't really say.
It's gonna be no situation where you have a first overall pick and he's not gonna be elite right out the gate.
Yeah, it's gonna take him a little bit. And then let's go to the AFC West to round out our predictions. Right before, I know 2 teams did play in the preseason, but there is everyone else hasn't played yet. So let's finish it off. Let's finish this one off.
Yeah, Kansas City first. Absolutely hate them, but they're going to finish first again. That's the team. That's them, and they're going to come out with a chip on their shoulder again, especially after the beating that the Birds put on them in the Super Bowl. That was awesome. All of America loved that, but
oh yeah,
they're still a fantastic. You can't deny Patrick Mahomes' greatness. You really can't. As much as you can hate on them and say, and even last year, they squeeze through games, but they win. They find ways to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they always.
You know what I mean? Refs are not. So them, definitely first. This is going to surprise you. Chargers second. You surprised?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay. I think the Chargers finished second this year. I know the Broncos had a very good end to the season last year.
They're getting a lot of attention on them.
And they're getting a lot of attention, but I'm not buying into the hype of the Denver Broncos. I think they're going to be competitive. It could go either way, but I'm going to take LA to finish second, right behind Kansas City. And then Denver. And then I hate to say it because Vegas is actually going to be improved this year, but I think they're going to be last. It's another one of those divisions that, besides Kansas City, is going to be a dogfight. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Realistically, LA, Vegas, and Denver can all finish last. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of them can finish third, and all of them can finish second. You know what I'm saying? I think the bottom 3 of this division is going to be a dogfight, but I think it's going to be Chargers, Broncos, and then Vegas.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna go Chiefs, First, Denver second, so that's a little bit
Okay.
of a difference. But I
And
don't
again, I
think.
could see it going that way too. It's not out of the picture. I'm not saying that it's definitely not going to happen,
No,
but
yeah,
I have a
and
hunch about LA this year.
I agree. They were good. They were a good team. They were good last year. They're good
Yeah.
again. Them and Denver very, very close in the standing. I also
Yes.
think those two teams. I think they could challenge the Chiefs for first place.
Yeah.
I
Oh
feel.
yeah.
I feel when we're sitting in the same seat right now next summer, we can very easily say Chargers or Denver
Yeah.
for first place
Yeah.
a
I
year from
agree.
now. But we can't
Yeah.
say it yet just because
No,
they didn't
you can't
show.
count out KC.
No, not at all. It's not even counting them out. It's just saying like these two teams have gotten so much better, but I don't think they're there yet. And then we'll see what happens. And I think Vegas will be last. But those type. There's always those few years where there's a division that has 4 teams at over 500. This I like the Raiders that much that I think they can be a 9-8 type of team. I could see it.
Yeah.
I could very easily see it. So I think this entire division could be a team that goes 9-8 or better. I could see it happening. But yeah, that's our predictions for the NFL. Excuse me. And we'll get back to it in a month, right before the season starts, when the Eagles kick off against the Cowboys. So we'll do the show, obviously, that week. And we'll get back to the standings, and we'll see. We'll go from there. But, yeah, we'll see what happens in the coming month. Injuries can happen. A lot of different things can change our minds when we get to September. So we'll see what happens. But let's move on. We covered the NFL for an hour, which shows how much we love football, and it's back, and it's great.
And it's coming back, baby.
But yeah, we'll speed it up a little bit here. The NBA was just a few different things that happened that were just a little bit to talk about. Luka Doncic signed a 3-year, $165 million extension to remain with the Lakers. So this will come into effect after this upcoming season. So he'll be here for at least 4 more seasons with the Lakers. And I feel this isn't really a move that was a surprise, but it also shows that this is going to be Luka's team past LeBron, which is something we talked about.
Yeah, I mean, we did talk about that. LeBron, he's great, but, he's getting up there in age, so he's not going to be around for another 10 years. You know what I mean? I mean, we could see that. I mean, you never know, but I don't see it happening. So this is going to be Luka's team within the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not really a shocking move at all.
No. And then after those 3 years, I would expect another extension if everything goes according to the plan that they have for him. And then other NBA news we got was Mikal Bridges signs a 4-year, $150 million extension with the Knicks, so it keeps the starting 5. I'm all right with it. I don't really. I'm not a huge. I'm okay with it. I'll get to that in a little bit, but I'm all right with it. It does keep the starting 5. It depends who they do start in the starting 5, but the entire group that played together last year up until the Eastern Conference Final, they'll be together until 2027. So the Knicks front office is really putting a lot of faith into this group to go out there and be the winner. So we'll see what happens. I personally think that they can get to that level. They need to do a few different things along the way, but I could think they can get there. And Bridges, the only thing I don't really like his game that much because I feel he's a little streaky, which is not good for a team that wants to win a title. They need all their guys very consistent.
Right.
But the one thing I do have to say is he took the extension now, which helps them a lot for next summer. Because if he waited until next summer, he would have gotten a 5-year, I think it was $300 million extension. So he saved the team a lot of money and also a year less, on the contract, which helps out a lot for this team. So I like that he did that. He is a team guy, which is nice. But I'm not a huge fan of his game like from last year. Hopefully it's better this year. Then Damian Lillard returning to Weber State. So that's where he played his college ball, of course. But he's going back as the GM, which is very fascinating. I think it's something now in Division I, of course, Division I, anything, except not really baseball, but football and basketball. These teams have GMs because it's NIL you have to manage. You have to manage rosters. You have to manage recruiting. It's a lot of different things that a coach and his staff can't do by themselves anymore, which shows how much college is evolving. And I think this is really cool. It's going back to where he played and helping them out. I'm sure he'll help them. I'm sure he'll give them some legally, give them some money, financially help out the program and stuff like that. But he's also not going to be playing next year. So I think a lot of his focus a lot of his focus will be on this program. It's very, very,
I think all his
very, very
focus
cool.
will be. I think this is. I'm not saying he's going to retire, but I think he is. I think this is his. He's not 100% sure yet. He might see how this goes, but I think he's done.
Yeah, and this could be the end for him to being a coach one day.
This could be, yeah. I think this is a way to be like, okay, I'm doing this. If it works out, I'll retire. But I'm also in a situation where if this doesn't work out, I can just go back. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I like that he's going back to where he played and paying.
Yeah,
back
not going to some like big school or something. You know what I mean? Just to go, for the flashy lights and millions of dollars in NIL money. This could help them get more money in NIL.
Yeah, especially this is not really a high program, so it's very very cool. And then the last bit of NBA news here: De'Aaron Fox signs a 4-year, $229 million extension to remain with San Antonio. I wrote here another all-in move for the Spurs. They went out and got him in a trade. They really said we need a point guard. This is their guy, and they believe in him. They believe him and Wembanyama can get the Spurs back to what they were when we were little. It's been a while for the Spurs, but they were very good back then, and it's because they had a point guard like Tony Parker. I'm not saying Fox can be him, but Fox is very good in his own way. So this is very nice for the Spurs, and they're all in, man. I'm very curious.
Yeah, they
are. It's going to be fun to watch the Spurs this year in the coming years. I like what they're doing in there in San Antonio. But that'll do it for the NBA. Let's go to the how you doing, Biggie? I know you're not doing too great with your Yankees. You're struggling a little bit.
Oh
right?
Boy, yes. We're not doing well baseball wise, and that's the only sport currently playing. So we're not. How you doing? Terrible. Let's get into this. And again, look, I follow the Yankees. I'm a Yankees fan, but I don't follow them as much as I would a football team or hockey. So, like, during hockey season and during football season, you will see me crash out about Syracuse and the Flyers. The Eagles a little bit too, but just in the coming months.
You're giving a warning.
I'm giving you guys a heads up, especially Syracuse. If they lose some of these like tougher games in ways they shouldn't, I will be screaming, okay? Like I will be at my TV if they do.
This is like an appetizer for you.
Yeah, the Yankees is just like the appetizer platter here, okay? The main entree is when Syracuse does bad and when the Flyers do bad, because then I go crazy. Because those are my two like beloved teams, the Philadelphia Flyers and Syracuse football. So it's been number one Syracuse. I've even done videos on my channel where I've crashed out over Syracuse. I've crashed out. You can ask people that know me. I've said some terrible things about Kyle McCord after that Pitt game. I said some really bad things. I might get thrown in jail if I say I'm on here, but I'm not even kidding either. Let's get into it. Yeah. But anyway, let's get into it. So Yankees get absolutely embarrassed in Miami. This is the first time. This just goes to show you how bad the Marlins are and how good we are in history. First time the Marlins ever swept us. Ever.
Yeah, ever. That's crazy.
Ever. I mean, that's embarrassing. And again, this is a team that, again, we need to Aaron Boone, get out, please. Just fire him now. Cashman, fire him now, please. Please. Get him out. I can't deal with this guy anymore. I seriously can't. And again, we had these. He fixed some issues that we had when we had another skid. Great. Now we have some more issues. You're down your best guy. You're down Judge. What do you do with that? Oh, let's change absolutely nothing. I mean, you have other guys that could play. Let's change nothing up. We lose probably the best, one of the top 5 players in the MLB. We lose the best player on our roster. By far, especially in this stretch, it shows that he's the best on our team by far because everyone else is not living up to this, superstar status that they should be. Because my God, what are we doing? Boone, get it together. Seriously, you need to corral your team. You have a superstar team, and you're the most popular franchise in sports in the world. I mean, this is a team with money. This is a team with resources. This is a team with good players, and you're failing to produce anything. You have your best guy go down, which, again, reasonable to have a little bit of a skid, but to do this bad, there's no excuse. You should, as a manager, you should be able to corral and get the most out of your guys. You are not doing that. You're letting your superstars play, and when you don't have your superstar playing, you suck. I'm just saying that flat out. You know what I mean? So a good manager would get the most out of his players, and Aaron Boone does not get the most out of his players at all. When you lose, your stud and Judge, he can't get anything out of these guys. And it's a shame because we have some really good players besides Judge, and they're in a situation where their manager just can't get anything out of them. I mean, we have Boston ahead of us right now. We have the Red Sox ahead of us right now. I mean, you can't be in a situation where you have your biggest in-division rival and someone who hasn't been, someone we've talked about has fallen off significantly and didn't live up to them bringing up 2 prospects and all this stuff. You can't have them being this far ahead of you. And then Toronto's just still ahead. I mean, they're just playing great baseball. I don't know. Something has to be done because it's embarrassing that you're letting yourself get to this point with the roster you have. I get it. Judge is out. I understand that. He's out. But to get to a point where you're getting swept by a team who's never swept you in their entire history of existing, and you lose 2 out of 3 to the Phillies, who are a good team, but still, that's a team you should be competing with. That should not be a loss in a series. You shouldn't lose to the Phillies in a series. I'm sorry. With the roster we have, you shouldn't be. You know what I mean? And then even the series before this one, I mean, they did sweep Tampa Bay. No, they didn't. Sorry. They won the series against Tampa Bay, which was good. And then, you get swept by, you lose 2 out of 3 to Toronto before the Phillies. So, these problems aren't changing. And it's just Aaron Boone needs to get more out of his players. He's not doing that right now. And I think he needs to go. He needs to go. He's proven that, even when they get to the point where they have to go, they can't do it. You know what I mean? And you lose Judge and you fall off the face of the earth, even with a still pretty good roster. So in that aspect, I'm not happy. Syracuse is in fall camp right now. It's quarterback battle. I mean, we're seeing it firsthand. Steve Angeli and Ricky Collins are going at it. I don't know who's going to be the starter. I don't know. I've been trying to follow up a little bit in the media conferences and stuff. I've been watching what both guys have been saying, what Fran's been saying. And also it's a debate here of who's going to be our top wide receiver, because we brought in, I want to get his name exactly, a 5-star. He was a former 5-star out of, he came from Texas. He was a transfer in the transfer portal. After we lost he was going to be our wide receiver one, Trevor Pena, who transferred to Penn State, because we want to give him $2 million. I brought it up on here already. But
yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we have him. And then Amari Hatcher is actually, he's going into his redshirt senior year, who I think will have a pretty solid year for them. He's been around. He's been with Babers. He's been with Fran Brown for a year. I think he's going to be well. Justice Ross Simmons as well. We can talk about him. He's going to be pretty good as well. So there's a lot of good things happening right now in Syracuse. It's looking to be well, but that schedule is really, really going to screw them out of any sort of, praise, because Syracuse to begin with gets none, and everyone still thinks it's 2020 and they're still terrible. They still think Kyle McCord didn't have they forgot Kyle McCord was great last year. I mean, like, he had the most passing yards in all of FBS last year, and no one likes to acknowledge that. Yeah. No one talks about that. I mean, I know we lost. I know we had that bad game against Pitt, but you saw what this coach did with Kyle McCord. You get someone like him in there. At Ohio State, he was doubted. He still won for Ohio State. He won big games for them, and he's still doubted. You give him to a coach who believes in him, and look what he does. And even so, most of those guys from last year were with Dino Babers, and you go from whatever the dumpster fire every year, start off 6-0 and then lose out, or go like 1-5 or whatever throughout your last games or so. And granted, they did have an easier schedule last year, but you saw how much of a culture shift it had. So for them not to be even talked about in them being good, it's more of just, well, they're Syracuse, all this. It's like, oh, they're not going to do anything. It's Syracuse. I don't know. I think they're going to shock some people. The schedule is tough. They have a lot of rough games. I've talked about it on here before. At Notre Dame, at Clemson. I think those are 2 guaranteed losses right off the bat. I wouldn't rule out losing to Tennessee. I wouldn't. I know people think I'm crazy for saying that, but I wouldn't rule out them beating Tennessee. It's not above 50%, but it's there. I think there's a possibility that they do beat them and shock them in week 1 and send shockwaves to college football. But again, they need to, you get a little more hype around Syracuse because they have a good, solid group of receivers coming back. Defensively, there's some holes. There is. Even last year, the run defense was kind of still pretty bad. And they did have a lot of issues on special teams. And what does Fran Brown do? He hires a new special teams coordinator. It's the only guy he replaced on his staff from last year. So goes to show you how much this guy cares. And he went into the transfer portal and got this kid from Texas. We got Steve Angeli from Notre Dame, as you know. Him, right? I mean, Steve Angeli, when he went in against Penn State, he played really well. And again, that's another situation. I don't think it's as much as Kyle McCord, but it's another guy that's been, doubted at Notre Dame. Never got a full shot. And I think now he has a shot, but I don't know if he's going to be the starter or not. I think he will. I think Angeli's going to be the starter against Tennessee week 1. Even though Ricky Collins had a fantastic spring, he did not play in the spring game though. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. And being an LSU backup, I don't know, but again, fall camp will decide all that. But I think Angeli's going to get the start, and again, I think he's in a program where they're going to believe in him. I'm not saying they didn't at Notre Dame, but he was supposed to be the starter, and then they bring in Sam Hartman, supposed to be a starter again. Oh, here comes Riley Leonard. You know what I mean? It's one of those situations, again, kind of similar to McCord. I'm not getting full on Kyle McCord vibes because Kyle McCord was a once-in-a-lifetime type player for Syracuse, but I'm getting similar vibes. So I don't think they're going to be horrible this year, even with the tough schedule. And then the Eagles, they're looking fine throughout training camp. Nothing really concerning. No problems really with any contract disputes or people fighting and all that. You know what I mean? They're fine. The Flyers, nothing really new, but I'm really liking what Rick Tockett's doing for them. It seems like they're going in the right direction. They have a really young core, so I'm hoping that they can build on that. And that's pretty much it. That's all I got to talk about. That's all my right. How you doing?
How you doing? I'll keep mine a little brief because I don't really have much to get into. The Jets, they've been practicing. They look like they're trying to work in the fundamentals, which is something that should been done years ago.
Right. You would think,
but they are starting to do that. I talked about that last week when you left. Was that they brought referees back into their practices that weren't there for the last 2 or 3 years. They're working on tackling drills because they were last year one of the worst tackling teams in the league.
Yes.
Penalties as well. Penalties is a big thing. They're trying to fix that. But the offense has not looked good at all. Fields is struggling, but it's also, I know it's early, and I'm just used to it by now. It's like beating a dead horse.
Yeah, right.
I'm not expecting anything from this team, and if they do, listen, I'll be there week 1. I'll be there all the home games as many as I can get to. Whenever I'm able to, and I will be there, but I'm not going to expect them to do anything special. I'm going to support them, but if they go out there and they win and stuff like that, obviously I'm going to be happy. But if they lose this year, I'm not really going to be affected by it anymore.
You season ticket holder. Just sorry, cut you off. You season ticket holder for MetLife Stadium.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to obviously, even when my life, I really haven't seen much winning. They haven't made the playoffs since I was 6 years old, which tells you all you need to know. But
right, yeah.
But it is fun, obviously, going to all the home games, stuff like that, seeing certain people that you haven't seen since January. When we go back in September, we haven't seen you since January. How are you? And stuff like that. That's fun, and obviously all that good stuff. But if they win, that'll make us all happy. If they lose, we're kind of used to it by now. So it is what it is. I'm not going to keep talking about it. And then with the Mets, I like their deadline a lot. I like what they did in terms of the bullpen. The bullpen needed some reinforcements. They figured that out. They did that. They needed a center fielder. Not really the one I thought they should or would get, but Cedric Mullins is going to do the job, I guess, for them. I mean, the production they had from Tyrone Taylor, it was really bad anyway. So I feel like Mullins isn't going to be great, but he's going to do a little bit of more offensively than what Taylor provides. The bullpen, like I just said, Helsley is sick out of the bullpen. I love that in the 8th inning. Tyler Rogers is going to be good, throwing his sidearm 80-mile-an-hour sinkers. I love it. The bullpen, yes, is great. But the starting rotation, I've been talking about this since we started the show. The starting rotation is a legitimate concern, and they cannot get deep into games. What's good? What is all good about having a great bullpen if you're not going to have a lead for them by the time you get to the 5th or 6th inning? It defeats the whole purpose of having a good bullpen. Like, I understand why they did what they did, because it was easier to acquire these bullpen arms. But you can have all of these guys, and if you don't have a lead by the 5th or 6th inning, there's no point. There's no point in having them. I don't get it. I don't get the mentality of that. And the Clay Holmes has been struggling. You can tell he's running on fumes right now, which I think everybody expected, but they just don't want to admit it. And then Frankie Montas, he sucks. I said it from when they first signed him. When they first signed him, I said this guy is not going to be good. And he was injured, wasn't in shape. Comes back, he has a 6 ERA. It's you want to watch a barrel party into effect. Tune into a Frankie Montas start. That's all I gotta say. he needs to be taken out of this rotation. He's awful. And they did say that they would consider bringing up the young guys, but let's bring them up now. What are you waiting for? They're losing it right now. They're losing 5-3. Manaea looked great through his first 5 innings. I don't know if you saw me kept peeking over my shoulder. I was looking at when Manaea was doing great. He gave up 5 runs, unfortunately, as he tries to get deeper and deeper into the game. They gave up 5 runs, and then they answered with an Alonso 3-run homer. So Alonso was only 2 away from the Mets' all-time home run record, which I'm very happy for him, and I hope he stays and he just keeps and he shatters that thing, so no one ever gets it as a Met. I'm selfishly rooting for that. Like, obviously, you want to see guys after him come along and do well, but I hope he gets like 500 home runs or 400 home runs as a Met. That would be very, very nice. But yeah, hopefully they can come back here at the bottom of the 7th. So they got 3 more innings to do something. But yeah, starting rotation. I've been saying that it's another thing every week. They can't improve it unless they bring up prospects. And honestly, I don't think these prospects will do as bad as what Frankie Montas has been doing. Really, he is god awful. He is terrible. But yeah, that's it for me in terms of my teams. But let's move into the MLB. Let's do a little trade deadline recap because the trade deadline was Thursday. A lot of teams got better. Some teams kind of didn't improve that I thought they should. And I think you can agree with me on that. So, Biggie, first, let's do our top 3 winners. We probably will agree on the winners because there was definitely a group of teams that stood out to a very, very good level. And then there's teams that didn't do anything. So give me your top 3 winners of the deadline, and then I'll jump in, and then we'll give our losers after that.
I don't got 3. I got 1 for you. The Philadelphia Phillies. I mean,
all right, wow. You got 1. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one to pick.
They won. They won all. They had one of the best trade deadlines that any team has. I mean, Johan Duran, his first time coming out at Citizens Bank Park. Did you see that?
It was electric. It was a very electric entrance.
I mean, when have you seen that? Guy just got there. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, that's just. I don't think you can really pick anyone else for your winners. I mean, and then they got Harrison Bader too, who we talked about. That's a big player for them. But I mean, they had an electric trade deadline. I mean, that just sparked the team even more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hate to admit it, but the thing they did need was a closer, and he is more than just a regular closer. He's a legit weapon out of the bullpen. We see he pitched twice. He got a save on Friday and last night. He looked great. He looked outstanding for the Phillies. But yeah, I'll throw a few other teams in there. The Padres, I know they gave up 17 players. 17, like,
that's why you didn't mention them because they did.
But the guys they did bring in are going to be something for them. Mason Miller is a game changer, and they didn't trade their closer, Robert Suarez, who already is electric. So that 8-9 compared to the rest of them, they can literally pitch a bullpen game every single playoff game if they wanted to. That's how good their bullpen is. And they were also supposed to trade Dylan Cease, and they kept him as well. So I feel like that's a part of why I think they're a winner, because they kept 2 guys that they were thought to be trade candidates. Then they brought in Ryan O'Hearn, who's a big lefty bat, a DH for them. Their DH was a little – that Gavin Sheets was not really a playoff bat, I don't think. O'Hearn will change that. Then probably their biggest hole on their team was left field, and they brought in Ramon Laureano, who's having one of his best years of his career. He's been around for a while, but he's having a really, really good year. That fills the void for a little bit for him to play left field. And then Freddie Fermin, I don't know why the Royals would trade him. I know they still have Salvi, but Fermin is definitely the catcher of the future, and they let him go, and the Padres scooped him up. Padres' catching situation wasn't bad, but it definitely improved tremendously. Fermin is a very, very good defensive catcher and can hit a little bit, but he'll bat lower in the lineup. So their lineup is very, very good. Their relief pitching has got a lot better. They also brought in J.P. Sears, who can do some things for them. He's a back end. He was a former Yankee prospect, if you remember. Lefty guy, lefty arm. He can be very, very good for them. So I like what the Padres did. Quickly on the Mariners, I really like what the Mariners did. They brought in Naylor, who could play first base for them, and then they brought back Eugenio Suarez, who we said would probably be the prize of the deadline. Goes back to Seattle. And what's the one thing we always say about the Mariners? Oh, their offense isn't good, but they can pitch. Well, now they have an offense, and they can still pitch. They can very easily – they can make it to the World Series. I do not doubt that for a second, that Seattle team could be in the World Series. They have the formula for a World Series type of team. And in the playoffs, the formula is clutch hitting, terrific defense, and bullpen. That's all you need, and they got everything you can ask for. And then the last winner I had was the Mets/Phillies. I feel like the Mets and the Phillies. It seems like one team made a move, the other team had to respond to it because they're so close in the standings. They're very, very even. I feel on both rosters. You can say some parts of the team have more strengths than the others. But yeah, I feel like they're both winners just because they went neck and neck. They were like, okay, this team got a reliever, we got to match that. They got this, they got that. That's why I feel that way. And then an honorable mention, I'll throw in the Astros. Brought back Carlos Correa, which is not anything. I don't think it was anything that people expected. So Correa being back is good. Very, very clutch for them. He'll play third base, which is a hole because Paredes is now out for the year. And then Jesus Sanchez, a lefty bat. We'll play outfield for a little bit. Try to pick up the slack for Yordan Alvarez, who's still out. He'll be back soon, but I think Sanchez will still play regardless later on. But yeah, those are my winners. Who do you got for some losers?
Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah,
give Dave Bednar for a bag of chips and a soda. two for $4 deal at Turkey Hill. I mean, not helping your case there, Bob Nutting.
Yeah, they're not
helping your case.
They are not. They're not making their best player too happy. And Skeens tried to say, like, he was like, yeah, they're trying to create money for the offseason, but will they spend that money? No,
they're not going to. Absolutely not. So it does nothing. Baltimore Orioles didn't do anything at all.
Yeah, they just traded. They traded a few pieces away that they really, they didn't need anymore. But still, they could have been one of those teams. I feel that they didn't really have to. I wouldn't say buy because they're not really in the playoff contention. But they could have bought or try to get guys that were quality players but have years of control. So next year, I feel like the Orioles could be a bounce back candidate team where they could have picked up a guy that is having a good year and with years of control left and go forward. But I guess they didn't want to do that either. And then my losers I got here, the Cubs, right in the middle of the playoff race, and they did nothing. I didn't understand.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm kind of surprised. I'm surprised they didn't do more.
Yeah, I didn't really get that. They brought in Willie Castro. That's really it. And then the D-backs, they did make trades, but I felt like there was other guys on that roster that they could have cut bait with, and they didn't. I didn't really get that. And then the Red Sox, I feel like they had an opportunity on the table to go out there and improve that rotation and the bullpen, and they brought in Dustin May and Steven Matz, but those aren't needle movers. I don't think they're going to change the game that much. So I feel like those are my three losers. And then some other MLB news, Braves versus Reds at Bristol, Tennessee. So it was the Speedway, the Raceway, whatever you want to call it. That was pretty cool. But the Saturday night was supposed to be when the game was. I know they can't control the weather, but they also waited until 9:45 to start the game. Then they started it, and they only played an inning to cancel it until the next day. And then they also ran out of food. I didn't understand that. How do you run out of food? That's crazy.
I don't know how you do that.
A lot of confusion, I guess we can say. But yeah, that was a pretty cool thing that went on. But just unfortunate that it couldn't go according to the plan they had out from the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we move off the MLB, let's get a standings check here, and then we'll close it out with the college football rankings, and then the pick'em to end it off. But I'll start this one first. Usually I let you go first, but I'll do this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
NL East, we got the Phillies at 63 and 48. So basically every week it's them and the Mets flip flopping. I believe the Phillies are winning right now, and the Mets are losing. So if the Phillies win, that would get them another game. So hopefully the Mets can come back here. Yeah, Mets are half a game out. Both teams 5-5 in their last 10, not playing good baseball, really. They're kind of leaving wins on the table. There's a lot very talented teams. It feels like their record could be a lot better than what it is. Then the Miami Marlins. I don't know where the hell this came from. They are actually a 500 baseball team right now, which is crazy. I think they are losing right now. I think they are losing right now to the Astros, so that could change. But 8-2 in their last 10. They're just playing great. They were 24 and 40, and now they're 55 and 55. And they don't have much talent to work with.
No, they don't.
You got to give them credit when credit's due. They deserve all the credit in the world. Then we got the Braves at 47 and 63, 3-7 in their last 10, continue to fall apart. And this is we can include them in their losers if we want. They had a bunch of guys they could have just traded. They're not going anywhere. Why would you keep these? Like I don't
say they didn't do anything significant at all.
They did nothing. They literally did nothing. I don't even think they made one trade, which I didn't understand that. They don't have hope in making the postseason. Come on, they're 16. No. They're 13 games under. 16 games under 500. And then the Nationals last place 44 and 67. They traded a few pieces away that they weren't going to bring back next year, which is what you should do when you're not in the mix. And then the Brewers 67 and 44, best team in the National League, and I believe all of baseball, which is crazy. 7-3 in their last 10. They did win 2 out of 3 against the Cubs in that big series we were talking about last week. That was huge for them.
That was huge.
And now look, they're up 2 games. They didn't really make any moves at the deadline, and honestly, I don't think they had to. I really don't think they
I agree with you. I don't think they really had anything to move around at all.
Yeah, maybe improve the lineup a little bit, but they're not going to make a move where they have to break the bank. They're not doing that.
No.
And then the Cubs 65 and 46, 2 games out. Reds at 58 and 54, 9.5 out of first. They're really the one team in the wild card that has a significant chance of striking and sneaking it in somehow. They're 6-4 in their last 10. Cardinals 56 and 57. We saw them trade off some pieces. They're 4-6 in their last 10. Feels like they're going in the downward trend. And then the Pirates 48 and 64, 7-3 in their last 10 somehow. I said this. They're 31 and 25 at home, and they suck on the road. 17 and 39. How are you that bad?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then it's crazy. And then the NL West, Dodgers at 65 and 47, usual for them, 6-4 in their last 10. But they have to watch out because the Padres 62 and 50, 3 out of first. They're 7-3 in their last 10, and they made all those moves at the deadline. So the Padres are all in. They put the chips in on the table, and they said, "Give me the house." And that's exactly what they're going for right now.
Yeah.
And then the Giants 56 and 56. They're a dead 500, 9 games out of first, 3-7 in their last 10. They're starting to slip away out of the wild card as well, which is not what you want after you make a trade for Devers. And they also traded some guys away. They traded Doval to your Yankees, who I know didn't have the most impressive debut, but he should still be a good arm for the Yankees. But they did trade some guys away. And then the Diamondbacks 53 and 59, 3-7 in the last 10. We've been saying this. They looked like they were going to start losing, and they did. Traded some guys away. And then the Rockies 30 and 81, 5-5 in their last 10. They did the same. They traded some guys away. They kept their young guys. Jake Bird went to the Yankees, which I know you were very happy about.
I was very happy about
that. He also didn't have an impressive debut, but I'm sure he will be fine.
Let's be honest, none of them did.
None of them did. They all lost the game that day for their debuts. But Biggie, take over here for the American League. And then I got one more thing involving baseball before we move on.
All right. And so let's start with the AL East. I mean, Toronto, they're on a roll right now. They're 3 games ahead right now. They're 65 and 48, and they're 4-6 their last 10, but they've been on a heater. They got to this point where they're at. And then Boston, And a lot of this can be contributed to how bad the Yankees have been playing. But Boston, dude, they're 62-51, 8-2 in their last 10. I mean, they're playing better. They're a lot better than they were. I mean, this is a big improvement for the Red Sox. And then the Yankees, they're somehow still 60-52, but they are awful. I mean, they just that series against the Marlins, I don't know what, and they also just got down to the Rangers right now. It's 4-3 Rangers right now. It was 3-0, and now it's 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say they were winning, right?
They're up 3-0. Now it's 4-3.
Uh,
Yeah, and then Tampa Bay, I mean, made some decent moves at the deadline, but 2-8 in their last 10. They fell down. It's just I don't know what happened there. Don't know what happened. And then Baltimore. Same old, same old.
Yep, in the cellar.
Yep. Yeah. And then the Detroit Tigers still 8.5 games ahead in the AL Central. 6-4 in their last 10. They're kind of steady. Nothing really to be concerned about. Not a ton of crazy moves at the deadline. And they're still playing good baseball, and it's also contributed to the fact that the rest of the division sucks. Cleveland just above 500. Kansas City right at 500. Minnesota far down from 500, and then Chicago still better than last year, but far out of it. I mean, none of these teams.
The Twins traded everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Twins. The White Sox might finish out better than the Twins right now. We'll see. Twins might lose a significant amount of games here. And then in the AL West, Houston had a good trade deadline. Still ahead 2.5 games. Seattle, I think, is coming for that spot. Look out. Seattle might win the division. It's going to be a rat race to the end there between Houston and Seattle. So I'm kind of excited to see that, how that ends up. And then Texas, I mean, they're okay. They're getting better, playing some better baseball. And then the Angels, I mean, they just, again, another team not worth really talking much about. And then the A's, getting better every time we talk about it.
And they trade Mason Miller though. Like that's
right.
I know they got a terrific player in return, but it's still you have this guy under contract for like 6 years. What are you doing? I don't get it.
Know.
I don't know what their philosophy is.
And they improve every time we talk about them, but that just
they have, and then they do things like they take a step forward, and then they take 2 steps back. Unfortunate though.
Yeah.
Standings have kind of been mostly the same, but there is some teams that are in striking distance that, like Seattle, like you just said, they can very easily win first place. I know the Astros got better, but they haven't been winning games. So, you know what I mean?
No, and Seattle's on pace to be a lot better.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But the Mets are starting to make a comeback here. Bottom of the 8th, Soto just hit a liner to center. He got a single. Lindor moves to third. So they got first and third, no out. Little commentary there.
Yeah.
Alonso. Alonso is, I said it before, but Alonso is 1 home run away from tying the record and 2 from getting the record for himself. So that'll be, imagine tying the record on a 3-run homer here to give him a lead would be nice. But yeah, Biggie, I know I haven't had a chalked moment in a while, but I actually do have one. I have one for you this week. I do have one for you this week. And it was Saturday afternoon. It doesn't really have anything to do with like on-field play. But so I go to the Mets game. We're sitting in right field, right over the leaning over the fence a little bit. It was like a little bit of it was nice. And there's a guy there's a home run hit. So I don't know at Citi Field, if anybody that knows Citi Field, right field has like the netting, little like netting basket because there's like seating underneath and then there's seating above it. So there's a home run hit. It's on the netting. So there's this guy. He doesn't really go on the netting. He's just like on the wall part, but he did climb over, but he didn't really go on the netting. So he grabs the ball and gives it to a little kid, and he wound up getting like thrown out of the game. And it was only the 3rd inning. Yeah. So I was like, I understand that like they have to do their job, but like, come on, the guy was doing something nice. Like if it's a grown man. Alonso with the hit there. They scored a run. They're only down by 1. But as I'll keep going with the story, I understand. Like, say it's a grown man, he does that, keeps the ball for himself. All right, you're an idiot. Why would you do that? But he leaned over, went on the wall a little bit, grabbed the ball, and gave it to a little kid. You got to cut the guy a break. And then we had to leave or whatever. And they actually we found out they took his picture, so he's not allowed in the stadium either for like a decent amount of time. I don't know what how long it is.
Me?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. We found out because he came with like a group of his coworkers.
Yeah.
And then that unfortunately they told us, they were like, yeah, they took his picture. He's not allowed back they didn't know how much time. But I was like, damn, that sucks, man.
Yeah,
the guy paid a decent amount of money to go to a Met game. He was having a good time, and he spends 3 innings there, and then he gets thrown out, and he's not allowed back for a while. So it's crazy, but I understand they have to do their job. But it is sometimes you got to cut a guy a break. You know what I mean? And McNeil with the nice line drive, single to right. So now they got bases loaded, no out. Let's see who we got up here before we move on to some college football. Oh, Vientos. Here we go. Take strike one down the middle. All right, let's go to the last main thing we got here.
Yes.
College football coaches poll was out. Let's get through this one. Some things that are very, very interesting is I wrote this as a little note here, Biggie. I know you know this already, but week 1 has crazy matchups.
Yes.
Well, if the AP poll coincides with this one, but week 1, according to the coaches poll, has the number 1 and number 2 team facing off, which would be Texas and Ohio State, which is going to be nuts. And then they also have 2 other top 10 matchups, Clemson and who's Clemson play? I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
They play. Just give me a moment.
LSU, right?
Give me a minute. I want to say so. They open up the season with LSU. Yes, so we have another top 10 matchup there. So this is crazy.
And Notre Dame and Miami right now is currently a top 10 matchup.
That's another one too.
Be nuts. So that's 3. Of course, the first one is the top teams.
That's just crazy.
That's going to be electric. Arch's first start, like true start.
Yeah, I was going to say this is the first we're going to see of Arch Manning fully.
Yeah, which is going to be crazy. Ohio State, natty champs. It's going to be very, very, very. That's going to be a hell of a matchup. But let's do this. Since there's 25, you want to go through the first 13, and I'll take over for the back end of this. Last 12. Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about Texas being number 1 in this coaches poll. I mean, it's understandable. They're going to be pretty good this year. I mean, we're going to see fully Arch Manning. Do I believe the hype around him? Yeah, I could see it. I could see him, living up to this hype and Texas being the best team in college football this year. Do I think that they're going to finish number 1? I don't think so. But I think having them number 1 in the coaches poll is reasonable. It's absolutely reasonable. And I could agree with it to an extent. So, I mean, we look at their schedule. They open up with Ohio State. I mean, that's huge. A noon game on Saturday to open up the season. And then some of their other games I want to point out here. I mean, they play Georgia in the middle of the year. But otherwise, I mean, looking at the schedule, they could easily win out. I mean, you have San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston, Florida, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, Georgia, Arkansas, and Texas A&M. The only teams I see giving them trouble here are A&M and Oklahoma. And Georgia. Yes, those are 3. Those 3 games I see them being struggle. But all these other games they should win.
Easily.
So it is not impossible to say this team goes undefeated. And let's look at number 2, Ohio State, coming off a national championship. Some graduation hits a little bit, or NFL draft hits, I should say. But again, it's another team who has proven time and time again that they are the Big Ten team. Penn State still can't beat them, even if they come close. They just can't do it. Open up with Texas. I think if we're going to say Texas goes undefeated, Ohio State's only loss ends up being Texas. And for how high I'm going to be on Penn State this year, which we'll talk about next, I still don't see them. I see Ohio State beating Penn State still this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I still, even if Penn State goes, 11-1, their only loss, I think, would be Ohio State. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In that scenario. But yeah, I mean, their second game of the year is Grambling. They're playing Grambling State. It's the Green Bay Packers logo, but black and gold. Yeah. So they're playing them, and then they have Ohio out of the MAC. They're at Washington. I mean, some of these games are going to be tough. Not Purdue. Oh my God, I was just reading that. Jesus, what am I saying? Oh my God.
You're doing the
Penn State,
rankings.
Penn State may be one of their tougher games. It always is, but I think they get them again. Michigan and Ohio State's always a crazy game, and we saw that went out last year. But otherwise, I mean, they'll beat Rutgers, they'll beat UCLA, they'll beat Purdue. Wisconsin is a team that may give them a little issue because it's a road game. Illinois, they should beat, again, another road game. Minnesota, they'll beat Washington. Again, it's just, I think they're set up and they're in a good spot. Now, let's talk about Penn State, who, again, they go through the year and they're, they're overrated. What high school team are they opening up with this year? Like, this is the team that's returning a lot. And I know Drew Aller's performance last year to go to against Notre Dame was nothing to write home about. Nothing to write home about whatsoever. But you return him. You return Nick Singleton. I mean, you can't get much better than that. They're in a really good spot. So I think having them in the top 5 is not crazy to say. I mean, they open up with Nevada and FIU and Villanova. There's a 3-0 start right there.
Yeah.
Oregon, the whiteout game, which I think I'm going to this year. I'm ditching a Cuse game to go to the whiteout this year. Finally get to experience it.
That's nice.
Yeah, so again, that's going to be a very great game, but Penn State should win that one. On the road at UCLA in front of 30 people at the Rose Bowl, that should be a win. Northwestern, that should be a win. Iowa, I mean, that will be a good game, but that will probably be, a win. Ohio State, I see them losing. Indiana, a win. Michigan State, win. Nebraska, win. And Rutgers, a win. So it's another team that may have one loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're going to be great.
They're going to be great. They return a lot, but could they stay consistent? Could they, pull off, getting far into the college football playoffs like that? And then let's look at Georgia, who I think will be improved from last season because they did have obviously a good year. It's Georgia, but not to Georgia standards, to say the least. I don't know if you agree with me on that, but I think Georgia, for them, did not have a fantastic year. And granted, they had a little bit of a shakeup at quarterback. They had a little bit of issues. But again, and I don't know what it is, Georgia has one of the easiest schedules every year. Like every year. I mean, they're playing Austin P week 2. They're playing Charlotte, who is still FBS. They're playing Charlotte week 11. They're playing. I mean, this is a no-brainer to go undefeated here, except for maybe Bama and Tennessee. Those are the 2 games maybe they can lose there. But Marshall, Austin P, Kentucky, who's good, Auburn, who hasn't been anything crazy to write home about, Ole Miss, who is definitely winnable, Florida, who, here and there. Mississippi State, again, another team that's not crazy to write home about. Texas, again, that's another game that I could possibly see them losing too. Mm-hmm. Texas is probably going to beat Georgia. That and Bama and Tennessee, those are the 3 that they can definitely lose. I can see them losing 2 of those. I definitely think Texas beats them, and I think possibly Tennessee, depending on how they start, depending on how they play against Syracuse. I bring them up again, but that's Tennessee's week 1 game is in Atlanta against Syracuse at the Falcon Stadium to open up the season at noon. So if Cuse comes out and beats them, that could determine a lot for Tennessee. So, and then, the Georgia Tech game is always competitive too. I mean, look at the game last year. You remember the game last year?
They were in trouble. They were in trouble.
You know what I mean? So it was crazy. I was hoping for Georgia Tech to win. It would look good for the ACC, but again, Georgia's Georgia. And then let's get into the team that I hate the most, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Join a conference and then talk to me. No, I'm kidding. But again, that's a team that just, the recruiting class they have coming in, and we say this every year, is fantastic. Mm-hmm. I do like Marcus Freeman, though. I will say that I've grown to liking the Marcus Freeman. As much as I hate Notre Dame football, I've grown to liking the Marcus Freeman. He's done a great job there. I mean, getting them to the Natty. I mean, they lost. Ultimately, Ohio State was great last year, let's be honest. The run they had after they lost to Michigan, they were on a tear. It was fantastic to watch. Not really as a partial Penn State fan, but, that national championship game was exciting. It was. And I think Notre Dame, I mean, again, no offense, join a freaking conference because your schedule is soft. I mean, besides Miami and, they play, Miami. They play basically a bottom tier ACC schedule. I'll be honest with you, JD. You kind of have to agree with me here. I mean, they're playing Pitt, they're playing BC, they're playing, A&M. They're playing, who's good. I think maybe they'll probably beat A&M. Miami's going to be interesting. I'm very intrigued by this game. It's also a Sunday at 7:30.
First week. First week.
So I'm really intrigued by this Miami Notre Dame game. I think it's gonna be a fantastic game. I'm kind of excited for that one. But again, you're playing Pitt, and then you host us week 11, JD. So I think that's, like I said earlier in the How You Doing segment, I think Notre Dame is one of our two guaranteed losses, them and Clemson. So Notre Dame, their ceiling is 10. I think their ceiling this year is obviously undefeated, but I think the minimum for them is 9-3. I know it sounds crazy, but I think they'll go like 10-2 maybe. I could see them losing to Miami and possibly A&M, having an 0-2 start and then winning out. That is, if they were to go 10-2, that's how I would see it going. But otherwise, I see them going undefeated. Again, I hate to say it, but I think I see them going. I mean, this schedule's soft. I mean, besides Miami and A&M, this is a soft schedule. Bottom tier, Big Ten and ACC schedule, join a conference. But anyway, let's get into Clemson, who is going to be much improved from last season. I think this year's a good year for them. Again, the ACC, nothing really to write home about. I'll be honest, dude. I hate it. It's so depressing to see the ACC suck because it
used to be so good.
It used to be so. The ACC is terrible. It's such a bad conference. Out of the Power Four, they're the worst, and they host some of the worst Power Four schools. I mean, but again, the LSU game is going to be good. And then they have Troy. And then Georgia Tech on the road. I mean, and I say the ACC sucks, but interconference play can get competitive sometimes. You know what I mean? So even a team like Georgia Tech can go in there. Clemson can go into Georgia Tech and lose on a Saturday at noon. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Clemson can lose there. And then, again, this is another one of those guaranteed losses for the Orange down at Clemson. I think that's an automatic loss for them, no matter how good they are. And then UNC, who I think is going to be an intriguing team this year. I don't think they're going to be fantastic. I see them going 7-5. But again, on the road at UNC, you never know. On the road at BC, home against SMU. I mean, these are pretty much for the most part wins. They play Furman at week 11. Yeah. And then they're at South Carolina. I mean, this is a team that I could see maybe losing 1 or 2 games. You know what I mean? But realistically, this is another team that can go 12-0 or 11-1. And I think if they do go 11-1, it would be LSU that would beat them. You know what I mean? That would be, but that would determine the rest of the season, and that would kind of be crazy to think about. Marty's not taking too kindly to me hating Notre Dame. I'm sorry, dude. I can't stand you guys. No offense. I can't stand Notre Dame football. Sorry. Join a conference. But regardless, let's move on to Oregon, who had a very horrible exit to the college football playoff last year.
Embarrassing, you should say.
They got absolutely embarrassed. And with some of the new rules that are going in about NIL, this is a team that I think relies heavy on NIL. And they're one of the teams that if NIL kind of slows down, which I think it should, even though it's benefited my team for the most part. Fran Brown's a huge NIL guy, and that's one of the reasons McCord came to Q's. I think Oregon's one of those programs that's going to suffer. But again, this is a team that could still, do well. Even a regular season. They open against Montana State, Oklahoma State. They're at Northwestern. Oregon State, that's usually kind of a lopsided game anymore for the most part, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is now. Mm-hmm.
They heard the whiteout game at Penn State this year. I just think it doesn't matter who they play. Penn State most of the time will get that. 9 times out of 10. Say the least, because they usually either schedule it against a team that is going to be competitive with them or someone they're going to beat by 2 scores. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In a Big Ten matchup. Indiana, Rutgers, they'll beat Rutgers. They'll beat Rutgers. Wisconsin, Iowa, most of the Big Ten schedule. So, again, this is another one of those teams that I think can do well, but come playoff time, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think this is a 2 or 3 loss team. You know what I mean? I think this is a 10-2 or 9-3 Oregon team. Now, Bama is another one of those teams that we talk about in a regard of them not being as good as they used to be, but I still think they're a solid program. It's Alabama football. I mean, come on. You can't deny that they're great. You know what I mean? But again, that's another one of those teams that have had some pretty bad losses last year. You know what I mean? They had some pretty rough games. They had some rough games last year. But again, this is another one of those teams that plays some a softer schedule. Louisiana Monroe week 2, Eastern Illinois week 11. Like, how are they playing these FCS schools this late in the year?
Yeah, I don't get that.
Why is Georgia playing Austin P and whatever this late in the year? Why are they playing? Why is Bama playing Eastern Illinois on November 22nd? What is this? I don't understand that. But Bama, I think it's either, and I know it sounds crazy, an 8-4 or 9-3 team, because I think they can lose to Georgia. I think Tennessee could be a loss too. That's going to be a great game. I'm actually kind of excited for that one. That should be a really good game, to say the least.
It is Syracuse.
I'm a 'Cuse fan. Yes, go Orange.
He's only said it like 12 times.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm a Syracuse fan. That's my team, ride and die. And then, LSU could be a loss for them too. LSU and Bama are always great games. You know what I mean? That's one of those, SEC matchups that we love to see. So, listen, I have a very good reason to like them, okay? I want you to do something.
You got beef now. You guys got beef.
You got to watch Kyle McCord's highlights from last year. That's all I got to say. But anyway, regardless, let's stay off Syracuse because they did receive 16 votes in this, by the way. Want to point that out. But yeah, Bama's one of those teams where I think their ceiling is 9-3, 8-4, 9-3.
And the SEC is really good, so that we saw that last year.
And
the SEC they can easily lose to who they lose to last year. Bama, it was like a less
Vanderbilt.
SEC. Yeah, I was just about to say that's who it was. Yeah,
and that put Vandy on the map a little bit.
Yeah, that could very easily happen again with another team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't bank on it being Eastern Illinois, but
no, definitely not them.
A team like, let's say, Missouri, or a team like even South Carolina. You know what I mean?
They're always competitive, South Carolina.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they're in the rankings. They got a lot better.
They did, yeah. And then let's move on to our number 9 team, who we brought up a lot, LSU, who I think, again, this is more of an 8-4 team than a 9-3 team, personally. And this is a team who, we kind of – I don't like them either.
Yeah, mainly
because I can't stand looking at Brian Kelly. But, again, this is a team that has good talent, and they're in the competitive SEC. But, I mean, look at their schedule. Their schedule's not too bad. They kind of have a lighter schedule this year, too. They play Southeastern Louisiana week 4, Louisiana Tech. They're at Clemson, opened up the season. I think that's going to be a loss. I think Clemson gets them week 1. And then they play Florida. They get into their schedule a little bit more. Ole Miss, South Carolina again, who we just said competitive. Vandy, who also, like we mentioned, I don't think they're going to be as competitive this year, but A&M, who I'm pretty high on. I think A&M's a good program still. Is competitive, to say the least. Not, top 5 level or top 10 level, but, they're competitive all the time. Bama, again, another great matchup every time. Let's see. Arkansas, that's a team that could be competitive at times, but not. I think that's
like a trap game. It's a trap game.
Those are trap. That's a team that plays, and that's a trap team. Absolutely. I love those teams. Those are some of my favorite teams, the trap teams. And Western Kentucky, I mean, that should be a win. That's a group of 5. And then at Oklahoma to end the year, that's going to be a really good game. I'm excited for that one to end the year, LSU at Oklahoma. But yeah, no, I see this team going probably 8-4. They're going to be good, but I don't think that's a 10-2 LSU team. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Dude, just stop while you're at it. You see this? Glorified high school team is crazy. Oh my God.
You guys got beef now, man.
This is crazy. Oh my god. Oh man. They're not just all right. I didn't know I'd be starting beef with this guy over me liking Syracuse, but that's okay. All right. Then we go number 10, who I think it's going to be good, but I honestly don't see them being a number 10 ranked team, and that is the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah.
This is a team that I'm not pretty high on. Yeah, I'm not crazy about Miami, especially I don't think Carson Beck's going to do well. And he's going to be their starter, I think. It's not. I don't think it's going to go well. You see how Miami implodes at the end of the year. I mean, they can't hold on. You know what I mean? So, I talked about him earlier. This running.
He did.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate you. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Hey, listen, I have a good reason. I'll tell you right now the reason why I love Syracuse. My father played there, so no more of this dissing. Yeah, so there we go. All right, but Miami, I mean, again, this is the lighter schedule. They play lower halves of the ACC here. I mean, they're playing Stanford, Louisville, Florida State, Florida, in the lower mid-tier SEC. Bethune, they're playing.
Never heard of them.
They're playing South Florida too this year.
Oh, okay.
And then Notre Dame, I think they're going to lose to Notre Dame week 1. I think that's going to be kind of a oh my god game for Miami. It's going to be like, oh, look at Miami. They had a rough end of the year last year, and now they got blown up. I wouldn't say blown up, but they're going to lose Notre Dame. But I could see them beating a lot of these teams. SMU on the road is going to be tough. Home against the Qs, that's going to be a great game. Miami's going to come out of that game firing after what happened last year. We knocked them out of any playoff chances, and we got Clemson in the ACC championship game. Yeah. I was at that game. That was fantastic. That was one of the best. That was the best game I've seen. I mean, I've seen over 100 games at the Dome. That was the best one I've seen in my lifetime, my 20 years of life. That's the best game I've seen. And I've been going to games there since I was 2 years old. So, yeah. And then NC State, they're a competitive ACC team as well. And then on the road of Virginia Tech, that's not an easy place to play. Virginia Tech's not fantastic, elite level, but that's a hard place to play. Mm-hmm. And then you're at Pitt, which Pitt, to end the year at Pitt, I think is a trap game. I think that's one of those trap games. I'm not saying Pitt's going to be elite this year, but they're not a terrible program. They're one of those programs I hate too, along with, I hate Pitt too. And I talk a lot of crap on Pitt too. But again, that's a team that's not out of the picture of being, 7-5 or what, you know what I mean? They're going to compete in the ACC 100%, and to be there at your last week to go on the road at Pitt, I think that's a trap game for Miami, and especially at the point where Miami gets at that point of the year, I think that could be a loss for Miami there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see them being 10. And then Arizona State, I mean, what a great that game they played in the college football play. I know they lost, but
oh, that was a very, very good game. I remember
that was a fantastic game.
Scatterboo had a outstanding game. What is going on?
What are you talking about? First off, spell rooting right. Second off, whoa, Wagner is the worst FCS. They lose to Division III schools and Division II schools. And you're a Staten Island guy. You know how bad Wagner is.
Yeah, they're not too good.
No, they're the worst.
I mean, they take high school players from here, so they're not too good. So
true. And mind you, the last time Syracuse played Wagner, it was 55-0 at half. And this is when Syracuse was bad too. This is before they had Fran Brown and Kyle McCord. The game had to be played. The second half had 8-minute quarters. So you want to tell me who's better? You want to compare that? They had to play 8-minute quarters in the second half against Wagner. So yeah, but ASU. Like I said, that was one of the best games that we saw. I know they lost, but it was the fight they had at the end was fantastic. But this is a team, possibly an 8-win season, 9-win season as well. Some of the games that I want to look at for them are Texas Tech, which I think is going to be a good game with ASU. I think West Virginia might be a solid game at that point of the year too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Colorado could be competitive. Arizona Arizona State's always a pretty solid matchup.
Mm-hmm.
TCU will be a solid matchup with. I mean, they're going to have some pretty competitive games this year. They open up with Northern Arizona, which I've actually never heard of, and I'm like one of those guys that knows everything about every like small school, like every D3 school, and like every like all these random colleges, and I've never heard of Northern Arizona before, and that's who Arizona State opens up with. But yeah, Baylor even too. I mean, some of these games are going to be good, but I could see them going 8-4, 9-3. This is the Arizona State team that's on the rise. I think this is a team that is slowly getting better. Their head coach I really like. I forget his name, but he's a younger guy, a lot of energy, and he's turning this program around. I mean, you even saw it from last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll move on to number 12. I'm stopping at 13, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Illinois. They're number 12. I don't know how to feel about this personally. I think Illinois is a solid program, but for them to be, this high, what do you think?
I don't know. I feel like they could have. I know they played well last year, but you can't go off of last year.
No,
That's the thing.
I
But
mean,
it's
granted,
tough. It's tough because the season hasn't started yet.
Right. And again, I could be saying this and they have a great season, but I see them going 7-5.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be this good.
Now they
not
have a
number 12. I'll tell you that.
No, they're not. And they have a lighter schedule. They have Western Illinois to open up, Western Michigan. They're at Duke week 2, who Duke is going to be good this year. Going to be one of the better teams in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
But like their Big Ten schedule, I mean, Purdue, besides like Ohio State and USC, they're playing Northwestern, Wisconsin, Maryland, Rutgers, Washington, Purdue. I mean, those are going to be wins, but I feel like they win all those games, but they lose to the teams that are, they're comp. They're going to lose to Ohio State. They're going to lose to, I think maybe on the road at Wisconsin. I know I just said them in the bottom tier of the Big Ten, but I think that's a team that's going to be one of their trap games. Even Washington could be one, and USC. Actually, no, I take that back. USC, I think, would be their, that'd be their kryptonites this year.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely Ohio State. But yeah, this is a team that the more I look at their schedule, maybe not 7-5, but it's very it's not out of the picture to say the least. I'm not too high on Illinois, and but they do have a very light schedule, at least for their Big Ten schedule. Their Big Ten schedule is extremely light. Besides like Ohio State, like I said, Ohio State, USC. You want to talk Washington, Wisconsin, possibly, but otherwise, I mean, Northwestern, Rutgers, Maryland, Purdue, at Indiana. I don't know. Indiana is going to be good too, but again, just not. I don't know. I just think that schedule's kind of light. And then this was the last one I'm going to talk about. I've been yapping a lot, but I'm really excited for college football season to start. South Carolina 13. Again, this is one of the teams we talked about that's extremely competitive, and I think could live up to that hype, could live up to that number in this coach's poll. I mean, they compete every year. They really do. You open up against Virginia Tech at home, though. Should be a win. Then they play South Carolina State, SC State, FCS. That should be a win. Vandy, that should be a win as well. At Missouri, that's going to be a tougher game for them, I think. Should be a win, though. Home against Kentucky. I mean, they're playing, Bama. They're playing Coastal Carolina week 11, which is going to be intriguing. Coastal Carolina is in the middle of the pack.
Depends on the year. Yeah.
Depends on the year for Coastal, but again, that's just going to be a solid matchup regardless, I think. A&M, I think, on the road at A&M might be a loss for them. Bama might be a loss. Oklahoma might be, and LSU. So let's say 8-4 for South Carolina. So, so that's the top 13. I know I talked for a long time. I've been going forever. So if you want to get into it, get the bottom half of this coaches poll here. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I won't go into as much depth just because these teams aren't really going to be – well, some of them may be. We don't know, but I don't think they'll be as into the conversation at the end of the year compared to the top 13 that you just went through. But, yeah, 14, Michigan. This is a team that, they won the Natty 2 years ago. Last year they struggled a lot, but they had a really good defense. Their offense just stunk pretty much for the most part. So we'll see what Michigan comes back with this year. Number 15, Ole Miss is a team that had a very, very talented team. They did lose 3 games. I feel like they've left some games on the table. They had Dart, obviously, but it's a different offense now. They left a lot of guys went to the pros. So we'll see what Ole Miss comes with. And they're in the SEC. The SEC is probably, I would say, the best conference in college football. We saw last year how many teams were in the rankings. We literally half the rankings were littered with SEC last year. I would expect it to happen again, so we'll see what happens there. Number 16, SMU. They're in the ACC now, as Biggie said before, and they were last year, but they're in the ACC for their second year. They made the college football playoff. I mean, they didn't have a good showing against Penn State, but they were a good team and should be at the top of the ACC once again. Number 17, we got Florida, another SEC team. This is a team every year that always put in the rankings, and they have not been good recently.
Yeah, they haven't lived up to the hype at all. I mean, they're kind of just they're
mid. They're mid team. They're a very mid team. I feel
they really are, and it's a namesake thing for them.
Yeah,
honestly,
that's how I feel.
It's
about
SEC
it.
And a namesake for Florida. At this point.
And 100%. And I was gonna say, I do not think they're going to be a team that will be in the rankings by the end of it. Number 18, Tennessee, 10-3 last year. They were another college football playoff team. Another very exciting team. We'll see what they go with. They had some changes in Knoxville. Number 19, Indiana, another college football playoff team, 11-2. We know their story. Kirk Cignetti gets the job. He brings in about 300 transfers, and they go 11-2, and they had a great year. See what they can do this year as he tries to continue to build, a good program. Number 20, K-State, 9-4 last year. I don't know what they're gonna be. It's gonna be a little bit of a mystery, I feel. We'll see what happens. And then number 21, Texas A&M, 8-5 last year. I feel like they're gonna have a better record. I don't know. I feel like they could have been better last year, and kind of feels like they have a lot of momentum in the right direction to have some success going into this season. And then 22, Iowa State, 11-3 last year. I love Iowa State, actually. Rocco Beck, really talented quarterback, and he has a lot of room to grow. I feel like he can be a really good pro when it comes time for him to get drafted, and I feel like Iowa State has him for this year. They're going to have a good team. I'm very excited for them. Number 23, BYU, 11-2 last year. They were another team that they usually produce, talented squads, but see what they can come up with this year at BYU. And then 24, Texas Tech. They were 8-5 last year. Didn't really like them that much, but I guess the coaches feel like they've done some things to help themselves out. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with them. And then to round out the coaches poll, number 25, Boise State. We know all of what they've done last year. They got the bye, and then they didn't really do too well in the playoff. They lost Aston Genty, who was their best player by far. So we'll see what Boise State, what they can do now. They look very, very outmatched by Penn State in that playoff game, but obviously that's not their schedule normally. So we'll see what they go to. And they're one of those lower-end teams. Well, I wouldn't say lower-end, but you know what I mean. Not a Power 4 team that can make the playoff just based off the rules. So we'll see what they can, what they do going into this season. But it's going to be very fun. Of course, we're probably going to, excuse me, we'll talk about college a lot more the coming weeks. Just because
you just got to preview the whole next half of the show. Oh, my God.
Literally.
For a long time.
It's going to be very, very fun. And let's end off this long episode with the pick'em, which we usually do. I'm at 5-4. Biggie's at 3-6. We both picked up a much-needed win last week as the Brewers took down the Cubs. But tonight, well, not tonight's game, but tomorrow night's game, we will pick the Astros versus the Marlins. I figured the Astros are in first place. The Marlins are playing terrific, so why not pick this game? I wrote in the notes, check the score of the current game, but the Astros won 8-2. So you know what? I'm going to take the Astros to win once again. Feels like the Marlins, they beat the Yankees over the weekend, but maybe they're not ready for that.
Yeah, that's just I agree with you. I'm going to also pick I'm going to pick the Astros as well. I think the Marlins, again, it's kind of just a, light in the air type thing for them. I think, obviously they swept my Yankees, and I ranted about that before. But again, that's not going to continue for. I don't think they, and what was the score tonight? 8-2, you said?
They won 8-2, yeah.
Yeah, so I think they do. I think they do it again. Give me the Astros.
All right, we'll both go with the Astros. Seems like that's a safe pick for us. And hopefully we get another win, and before you know it, we'll be picking football games. But for now,
we will.
We will pick baseball for now, because who wants to pick preseason football? Not us. No. But yeah, Biggie, any last thoughts you got here Very, very productive episode. I got to say that. We were
Yeah,
a little
because
all over
college
the place.
football. Because
Yeah,
college football,
and the
why.
NFL as well. And the NFL. We
Yes.
got more. We got more to offer now to talk about, and we could talk football for probably 5 hours. But I think everybody kind of wants to go to start getting some shut eye soon. But yeah, any final thoughts? Any final thoughts you got here?
No, not at all. I'm ready to.
There we go. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. Stay tuned for all the reels and good videos that are going to come out during the week. But for Biggie, I'm JD. That'll do it for episode 57. See you, everybody.